Good Wednesday morning, everybody. John and Lance, along with Abigail this morning here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Dell's still on vacation. Lance is back in the saddle, or at least you'll hear the saddle come running in right now here on the show. There it is. There's that saddle Lance is bringing into the show. He hates all the chairs in here. So here we go. A little surprising, a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to admit
all that I'm in studio since I was
right.
I was going to rush. I was going to do it from home, but the internet sucks at my house. Thanks for nothing, AT&T fiber or whatever.
Well, that's, I mean, so first of all, I'm going to make an admission. The Phillies might be better right now than the Houston Astros. They just might be, okay? They just might be a little bit better than the Houston Astros right now. That's all I'm saying. Maybe a little bit better right now. But come postseason time, then the Astros, they'll kick their ass. But at this point, in this juncture, when you look at that lineup, up and down that lineup, versus the Astros lineup, it is night and day. And you know, hey, listen, they've gotten great outings out of everybody. Verlander, not surprisingly, is struggling a little bit. He's struggling a little, and that's, you know what, that should be.
Well,
that should be. We should have known that. I mean, we didn't know how he was going to come back.
I found out something really terrible. He is trash and he's washed.
No, that's who told you that?
Mason.
Oh, Mason said that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I said, it's his second start after being out for about 2 months, right?
Oh.
He's literally making his second start. You also said Jabari Smith was awful and a wasted pick after the first Summer League game.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said Scoot Henderson will definitely be better than Wembanyama after you watched him in his first regular season
game.
He
may have some
jumps
knee-jerk
the gun
reactions.
a little bit.
Maybe he's a little knee-jerk, your son. Okay.
I don't know if Justin Verlander is he's not a dominant pitcher anymore. I don't know if he is capable of being the Astros' number one starter. I mean, they may line him up there, but what I do know is that I'm not ready to call him trash and washed yet. That's not what I'm going to do.
No. That might be your son who's young and not that bright, saying stuff like that, right? So we'll move on. We'll move on from that evaluation.
He's young, dumb, and full of dumb.
Dumb, right?
Yeah.
That's what I.
See?
Yeah.
See how that works early in the morning.
And so I'm thinking it's going to take a little bit of time for Justin Verlander. And the good news is that we have 5 other starters that are really throwing. Everybody seems to be throwing well, and they've got today to finish up this road trip. They should have won 3 out of 4 or all 4 in Baltimore, and they didn't. And that's hurting them right now as they head into the finale against Philadelphia. They did not deserve to win any of these games in Philadelphia so far. They got Arrighetti, who is right now their ace, on the mound against Christian Walker, or Tawan Walker, excuse me. I think they switched up. There were somebody else was supposed to throw today, but the Phillies have switched it up, and they're going with Tawan Walker. So try to salvage this game, get home for Kansas City, because Kansas City sucks. Although they're in first place now, they have caught the Indians, who had a 9-game lead on them, and now they're in first place.
Did you just say Kansas City sucks?
Yeah, but for a Central Division team, they're not.
They got more wins than us.
Well, yeah, they do, and they're in first place too, along with us. We're both in first place. I don't know if you heard, but they did catch the Indians.
What are we at? I was a little tied up yesterday, but it was 3.5. Are we still?
We're 3.5 now.
Still 3.5. Okay.
Yeah, they lost. Mariners lost as well. So we're 3.5, and I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about catching. We just got to catch Kansas City now. Kansas City and Cleveland, and that's my only concern right now. And so it would be nice to get a win today in Philadelphia and come home with a 3-4 road trip after the 8-1 road trip. So they're not looking as good now. What do you think of the addition of Jason Hayward?
Well, I mean, he wasn't doing much when he got DFA'd. I remember kind of making fun of like, man, not making fun, but look how far Jason Hayward has fallen, and now he's
recently he just homered to win a game for him. He has played. He's a really good right fielder. To get Ben Gamble out of right field will be nice.
Well, this is the deal here. Are you at all concerned about the fact that Jason Hayward, who has been available now, is joining the team, and Kyle Tucker's still not ready? Like, does this have any kind of?
Well, either way,
is this insurance or? Yeah, I mean,
Jason Hayward can move. You know what? The outfield that you're throwing out there on a daily basis is just wow.
Well, Chaz.
It's not a champion.
Chaz and Jake don't have good arms.
Yeah.
No. They don't have plus outfield arms at all. In fact, they're subpar. You got Jordan, who's not going to be playing. God willing, will not be playing the outfield a lot in left field. And then you got Dubon, who's okay. So you could use this from a standpoint of now. The young guys, Gamble came up and has done a nice job.
Well, he's not a good fielder.
But that's the problem. Is he doesn't field, and you don't want him. I don't think you want a rookie being put in a spot where he may have to play, especially if you're scrapping for a playoff spot. Now, what is
DeCenzo or Wickham?
Well, really any of them. You don't want them having to play extensive minutes, but somebody's going to have to.
Yeah. Well,
somebody's going to have to, but
now when Kyle Tucker comes back, Jason Hayward goes to left. You put Dubon at first, and there's your lineup. There you go.
You think Jason Hayward just steps in and is a full-time starter?
I think Jason Hayward is a better option than anything that they got right now. Yes, I do. He was hitting 208. He's come up with some clutch hits. He's been in the postseason.
You say 208 like it's good.
It's better than Chaz. Quite frankly, it's better than Myers has been over the last 2 months. It's better than you're stuck with Myers in center field for whatever reason, or Dubon can go to center field. You need to bolster this outfield. You needed to. Hey, Dana Brown was part of that Braves staff that got 3 outfielders at the trade deadline and went on to win a World Series.
Over the last 4 years, Jason Hayward's OPS has been 627, 556, 813 last year.
Yeah, he had a resurgence last year.
682 this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been under 700 for 3 of the last 4 years.
Yeah. He's had big at bats though, and he's come through on.
He had 8 home runs in 2018 with 440 at bats. Like his home run total. He's not as big because he was rookie. He was number 2 in rookie of the year. Remember his rookie year? He had 18 homers, 72 RBIs. He was 277. He was a good player. Yeah. He had 27 bombs and 82 RBIs when he was 22 years old in 2012. But ever since then, he's not been a home run hitter at all. He had 21 in 2019, where he'll pop up and he'll flash. And I guess this is no solution to anything. You're just hoping you get some of those flashes. You know what? You know who else flashed? Yuli in the postseason.
Yeah.
Yuli was done that whole season, was done after the season, but he flashed in the playoffs and you won a World Series.
Yep.
And I mean, that's probably what you're hoping here. At the end of the day, who cares? Chaz isn't any good this year. Would you rather have Chaz or somebody else? I'd rather have somebody else.
Yeah.
Chaz is getting up to the plate like he doesn't have a chance in the world.
Chaz has got to go back and he's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out at the minor league level. Did
they send somebody down?
Yeah, Chaz. Chaz is gone.
Oh, they did send Chaz down? Okay.
Chaz got to figure it out.
I was busy having people shave me yesterday, so I missed the Chaz.
You missed, yeah. What was everybody? No one was. You missed. Come on, you missed time for a procedure.
It's called a surgery.
You did. You had a surgery, and what? And how did it go?
We'll find out.
Are you better? You feel better?
Not really.
No,
not now.
No. Well, I
didn't get much sleep through the night because my chest.
You had some wires, right? You had some.
No, they have to go in through your groin, both groins. You want to see my
No, I don't want to know. Immediately when you say both groins, and then do you want to see the answer is no.
They take catheters and they go up through both groins. You're out, luckily, and they run these tools up there, and they burn different areas of your, I guess, pulmonary arteries. I've got an electrical issue. I do want to talk about this because it's actually pretty important. It can cause a lot of issues with strokes. People don't know they have it. I found out they're saying one thing about Methodist Hospital was incredible. Their people who work there are really, really great. And I mentioned that I was in for an AFib procedure. Couldn't believe how many people. Joan's husband just had it. Stephanie Stradley's husband just had it, or had it in 2022. Chad had it too. Yeah, Alex Dunlap, who is a fantasy football writer and covers the Longhorns, he had it. Like, a bunch of people have had these issues in their family. And if you don't, my grandpa may have died of a stroke because of it, because it turns out 2 of my uncles have it, and they probably just didn't diagnose it back in the 70s when he, had it. It can cause strokes, blood clots. But I was hospitalized with it in New Braunfels 2 summers ago. When in 22, 2 summers ago in 22, I didn't know. I just knew I was lightheaded, and my heart rate got up to, there may have been some nachos involved. And then the heart rate went up and never came down. And I was like, what the hell? And I felt terrible. It was going on all night or all day. The rest of the day, it was having issues with high, and then it would come back down and it'd go high again. So I went to urgent care, and then they said, and I thought I was just dehydrated because this had happened a year before. I didn't know it was the same thing. I thought, okay, I'm dehydrated. It's really hot. I'm dehydrated. Same thing happened a year ago. And then the urgent care, all they did was listen to my symptoms, and then they ran, they just checked my heart rate, and they were like, you need to go to the hospital now. So my wife took me to the hospital, and sure enough, they put me in overnight. It was on a weekend, so I didn't miss any time on the show. And I went in, and I was in overnight, and they couldn't get my heart rate down until it took them until 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning. It went down. So put me on medicine, blood thinners. You have to get blood thinners because it'll save your life. Because if you have blood clot, if you have a blood clot, it causes strokes. So you got to take the blood thinners.
Taking a Bayer aspirin every day too.
Yeah, that can help you. That's maybe something different. And for me, I was taking Flecainide, but it stopped working here over the last I had it before the show a couple weeks ago, where I had to just lay in the car, and so it would happen. I'd go try to play disc golf. Disc golf, that's not super intense.
Well,
I got it after 2 holes. Just walking, my heart rate went to 156. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But so I just had to wait until they had me on the schedule. And so I went in yesterday, woke up at 4:30. That's sucked. I thought, hey, at least I don't have to get up for the show. No, you got to get up earlier. You got to be in at 5:30. And then Chris Solis had already given me the heads up, because Soli had it too. Yeah. But not for AFib, it's for something else. And he goes, yeah, man. I was like, well, what was it like? And he was telling me, and he just snuck in. And then this guy, had to start shaving had to start shaving my groin and pubes. I'm like, wait, excuse me? And he goes, oh, yeah, Abigail, you may not want to listen to all this. Yeah. And you may want to put earmuffs on. And I'm like, what? So I thought I was going to beat them to the punch. I'm like, well, I'm not going to. I'm not going to stand for having a male nurse do this. So I'm going to get to work myself. When I get in, and Rosa, who was a sweetheart, she said, okay, I have to shave you. And I said, well, actually, Rosa, I took the liberty of doing it myself. She goes, oh, thank you. Like, you could tell it's not exactly the part of her day she likes. And then she said, did you shave your chest and back too? I said, what? Chest and back? Well, I thought we were
doing it here.
I thought we were going to the groin. She said, no, they have stickies all over you. I have to do. And I said, I'm not a hairy person. I raised up my shirt. She goes, it's enough. I have to. So she gets this tool, this incredible tool that's like, it's like a lamb. It's like how you shear lamb, sheep or something. And it's fast, no pain, no mess, no nothing. And she goes, no, she goes, what about above your knees? I said, above my knees? You're not going to be down. I said, once again, A, I'm not a hairy person. B, why do we got to go this low? So I'm sitting there, and then she had to tighten it up.
Oh, no.
Then she's like, oh, let me tighten this up a little bit around the edge. Let me get around the edges here.
You didn't trim.
I did. I just.
You didn't
I
bring
didn't
out
do it.
the weed whacker.
I didn't do it good enough.
No,
She's like, no, we
apparently
want
not.
this smooth like baby. She said, smooth like baby.
Oh hell.
And then and then.
Well, at least you had Rosa and not.
Yeah. Let me tell you, my nurse cooks with lard and has some great recipes all in her head.
She does, yeah.
Chris Solis's guy is great on the barbecue pit with barbecue chicken that's seasoned properly.
Right.
So it was a different experience for us.
Good.
But the one that no one told me about, John, was condom catheter. You ever heard of these?
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to know
This
about
is
it.
somebody said something. I'm getting ready to go, and she goes, okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to go through catheters, and then you'll wake up. You have a condom catheter on. I'm like, what? Wait. And all I heard was catheters. I'm like, I already know, that's how they go in through the groin. And I woke up, and I'm not thinking about anything, and the nurse came over, and she was really nice, grandmotherly. And she's pressing on my bladder, and she said, yeah, you're going to need to go to the bathroom. We gave you Lasix. Like horses take Lasix. I guess it's a real hardcore diuretic. And they gave me liquid. They gave me fluids during the procedure. And she said, you're going to need to go to the bathroom. I said, okay, well, I need to wait until I kind of wake up more because the medicine's really strong they give you. I even had fentanyl yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had the big F.
Wow.
And so she goes, no. You got a condom catheter on. You can just let it rip. She said, you can let it rip.
You can let it rip?
And I said, what is... And I've had a catheter once ever, the kind they go...
Yeah.
They go in, and it is the worst thing you can...
No,
I'd rather die of a stroke than have that happen.
Wow.
Have a catheter inside me.
Yeah, right.
And then pulled out.
No, that hurts.
It's the worst thing.
I've had.
You have?
Yeah, it's the worst.
Abigail, never have this if you're a guy.
No, don't do it.
If you ever have this.
Abigail doesn't.
I know. But this is the part that you may not be interested in. And this is not an HR. This happened in real life, so you cannot go to HR on this when I say this. Okay? This happened in real life. This is a life event, and you're not supposed to shame me. Okay, here we go. So I got this condom catheter on, which is basically it's like what it sounds like. And then you just use the bathroom into it, goes into a bag. I'm filling that joker up now. And at one point, the other nurse, the guy who's got to do Enrique comes in. And Enrique goes, hey, how you doing? Good. I said, okay, I've got I said, I guess I'm supposed to go to the bathroom. He goes, yeah, we can walk you over there, and then you can. He goes, so you got to take the condom catheter off, but they put some sticky stuff inside so it makes sure and seals up and all that. I'm like,
but I got to take it.
He goes. So I can do it, or you can try. And at that moment, we both knew I've got to give this a shot.
Yeah, right. No.
Enrique and I both know the first shot has to be mine, unless something goes terribly wrong. Because Enrique's like, I can, it's either me
Enrique,
or I'm sure Enrique's had to do it before. And as soon as he gave me the option of me, I'm like, let's do me.
Yes.
I know my body. My choice is to take this off myself. And so he goes, okay, here's some. He puts the, like your hand sanitizer,
right.
like not that you put on, but the foam that comes out. He goes, use this, and it loosens up the area because it's going to be stuck to your skin.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I'm like carefully, and all I could think of, it took a lot of maneuvering and gentle touch, and I just thought, this is not a job for Enrique.
No, I don't want Enrique.
I don't want Enrique to have to do this.
I do it, Mom. I do it.
Yeah, and so
right.
Once that was off, me and Enrique both felt this huge sigh of relief, like, oh, he did this. Fist bump.
Well, yeah, nice, good. Okay,
not that fist, do the other fist.
No, good.
Yeah.
So we got a break. We're behind, but we got a lot to talk about besides your catheter. We've got the Texans 53 man.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. We got Mike Elko joining us at 8. We got Josh Pate at 8:30. And
no,
at
9.
Oh, at 9.
Josh was at 9.
Josh is at 9, and then at 9:30 we got a fantasy football expert. Yeah, I forgot the guy's name that hates us talking about fantasy football, but we're going to call it after him. Joshua Bund. The Joshua Bund segment.
I knew it. I wasn't going to tell
Joshua Bund segment. That's what we're going to do at 9:30. Right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. But you got John Daspit to talk.
Yeah, let me tell you something. John Daspit is there to help you out when you are injured. Personal injury law is what he does. He's been very, very busy on cases. He works hard on all these different issues that are going on for you. And he makes sure that you are able to, not have to worry as much about, you've been injured in an accident. That's plenty of worry for you. You got to worry about getting better. And immediately you're going to worry about, how am I going to pay my bills? These hospital bills are going to, I need to get to the hospital. I don't have insurance. I can't afford to pay all this. Where's this money going to come from? I can't work because my leg's all messed up. These are issues you shouldn't have to worry about. It wasn't your fault. And if it was somebody else's fault, John Daspit and his lawyers come in and they start immediately working on getting you to the hospital, getting all the tests that you need so that you are going to be back as close to 100% as possible. They do everything they can. They make sure that your money's recovered for the time you missed from work. They are going to account for your pain and suffering. That was something you did not sign up for, and yet you're having to deal with. And in some cases, that pain and suffering is going to last, unfortunately, a lifetime for a lot of people. So John Daspit and his law firm get after it, and they get you a settlement that is going to be fair for you. And they will fight against the insurance company who's trying to squeeze you. And they are really successful at a very high level. 713-CALL-NOW. That's 713-CALL-NOW. Or go to DaspitLaw.com.
All right, so a couple of surprises for me in the Texans 53.
I wasn't super surprised.
5 running backs?
Well, who are the 5? Wait, let me bring it up. One of them, you saw that
British Brooks made the team.
as he should have.
Yeah.
That's why I think that it's not going to be 5 running backs. As I've said
Probably
previously,
not. Yeah, I
Dameon
would think
Pierce
that's
is going to get traded.
That's the first to go. Yeah.
They've been saying he's going to make the team. Yeah, he made the team because somebody would pick him up off waiver wire. And now that all the waiver wire is done, they can say, okay,
no.
What do we get for Dameon? They probably want to try to get a 6th. We'll see if they can do that.
Yeah, and the Packers could use a running back right now.
This is my guess. I mean, I could end up being wrong, but British Brooks looked good, I thought.
Yeah.
One guy that made the team, yeah, and they kept British Brooks a fullback, which, remember I told you the other day he was lined up offset as a fullback and I just kept thinking, well, maybe that's just see how versatile he is. Now that was a surprise. They cut Beck and Hairston, who are classic fullbacks.
Yeah.
Like Hairston can get after you. But
and they're going to use Stover and George.
Well, here's what else I think is going to happen. I think that they end up trading Dameon Pierce is going to be my guess, and then British Brooks is the 4th running back, and they bring back one of those 2 fullbacks. If Andrew Beck is still out there.
Yeah.
And then we still have to get through practice squad, so they may end up putting one of those guys on the practice squad if they're not picked up.
Well, yeah. I mean, you obviously can do that, but everybody's got to get through waivers. But the most likely to be the most likely position to be picked off if they do pick up somebody off of a waiver wire.
Well, they don't have to do anything though. There's teams they didn't keep an extra offensive lineman.
No, they got 9.
But they have 7 wide receivers.
They got nine offensive linemen, which we thought it was going to be 10. They got 7 wide receivers, which we thought it was going to be 6.
Oh yeah, they've only got 9. They didn't even keep.
Yeah.
So that's how they're able to get away with having 4 running backs
and 5 running backs. 5 running backs, 7 receivers, and 9 linemen. This is not the how we thought it was going to be built. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
And 2 quarterbacks.
Well, that's because Case was, and I found this out yesterday. Case was hurt.
Yeah, he hurt his foot against the Rams.
The day before yesterday. Yeah, he was. I think he may have been hurt even. Oh yeah, no, he got hurt earlier and tried to play on it. So Case is. You only have 2, but that's because of Case being out. I do think we have to mention the reserves. Danico Autry is on the 6th game. He's on the reserve because of suspension. You've got Christian Harris is designated for return. IR designated for return. Kurt Heinisch designated for return. Case is on the standard IR. Dylan Horton is on the non-injury list, and I don't know if he comes back. Brandon Hill, DB, is on the standard IR. Dalton King is on the standard IR. He's also
2 guys this year that can come back, and it's Heinisch and Harris.
So Case can't come back.
Case cannot come back.
Man.
But he can be in the quarterback room every day. That's what they did.
Same job, and he gets paid the same. Well, he gets an injury. No, I think he gets paid.
He gets paid. He gets paid.
Oh, yeah. We're just Coach Case.
How good is that?
He's just Coach Case now.
Yep.
And then you have, So a couple of the surprises for me, I did not think they'd keep 7, but Robert Woods over Ben Skoranek was a little bit of a surprise for me.
Yep.
I'm surprised they kept Robert Woods in his salary. He didn't play bad, but I just figured for his money,
he's a guy that could be traded too.
Yes, I could see that.
I could see that. And I could see, if most likely to be gone if they pick up a waiver wire, if they pick up somebody off the waiver wire, number 1 is probably Pierce. Number 2 has got to be Robert Woods. It's got to be Robert Woods.
On offense, yeah.
Yeah, 7 wide receivers.
Yeah.
And one of them is a kick returner, obviously, and Steven Sims. I don't, that's odd. It is odd to have 7, though, and only 9 offensive linemen. We'll see. I mean, they're going to obviously do something on the offensive line on the practice squad. They've got to have a guy that's ready to move up in case anything happens to anybody. But I just don't. I don't even see him going. I don't know how they're going to do it. Just 9, period. So I think that there's got to be another move or two left. And I would think with saving 4.75 on Robert Woods that they didn't do that.
Well, that's why I'm just not sure that it's not going to happen.
Right. If he's on your roster opening day, then he gets that all that money.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, he's one of those guys that they could let walk at the end of the year, but I don't know if he'll get a contract enough to warrant bringing in a compensatory pick of a 7th rounder. I'm not sure he would after this year if he's going to have that kind of value because honestly, he could play. He's outside. If you got to think of it like this, Mechie's an inside guy. He's a slot guy. So Tank and Mechie. So who are your outside receivers? Right now, it's just Xavier Woods and Robert Woods and Xavier Hutchinson. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense from the numbers game of slot versus inside. Mechie does not have the speed to play outside, although Tank can. But Tank is, if Tank plays outside, Stephon Diggs is going to be in the slot. So it doesn't really matter. I'm talking about from backups. You might want to have two guys that can play outside, and Robert Woods can play outside. So maybe because Steven Sims to me is just more of a return specialist. So it's interesting. I could see Robert Woods making this team because honestly, Ben Skoranic's not an outside receiver either. So if you need a pure outside receiver, but that's one of those positions you actually can find on the waiver wire, on the cut wire. So it's not over yet. This is the set roster now. And John and I, when we come back, we'll go over the defensive side. But we'll finish up on the offensive side, go on the defensive side. But this is not necessarily the final roster. There could be some. Remember, we're not rolling until next Thursday. So they've got probably until about next. They probably
Sunday.
have until the end of the week.
Until next Sunday.
Yeah. No. The Thursday night game.
Well, the Texans got all the way till their game. They can make their cuts.
No, but I think the season not vest on the start of league season, right?
No, it's the start of their season.
You sure it's not league season?
No, I think it's their season.
Okay. Well, regardless, you got to have somebody. If you're going to bring somebody in that's going to be on your roster, you need to have something done by Friday. Like you need them getting through practice because whoever you bring in is on your roster.
Right. All right. 713-780-3776 if you want to get in here. You might want to have Vanderford get in here.
Vanderford Air 281-557-COOL. 281-557-COOL is the phone number. Got home last night from my surgery, and it was like, oh, this feels great. Got in the house. It was at 71. It felt like a dream come true. Actually, it was too cold. I had to turn it up to 73 because the humidity in the home was at 55%. So it was low humidity, which means you can keep your house cooler at a higher temperature. So it was 73. Actually, at 1.74, I kept it at, and I like the house comfortable. But, man, being able to do it at 74, it stayed off for quite a stretch yesterday because that whole home dehumidifier I have is working great. Now, I got that because I had a new system that I bought from a super shisty, shady company that took advantage of an issue I was having. And I wish I would have met Vanderford. And I don't know how I didn't. They've been around the business here in Houston for decades, and it's a family-owned company. And Robert does a great job with it. They get in there. They do things honestly, transparently, and they have very fair pricing. They'll get it fixed. They find out what it is, and they get it fixed for you quickly at a fair price, or they can sell you a new air conditioner, one that's right for the size of your home and for your budget as well. Vanderford Air, a name you can trust, 281-557-COOL.
All right, welcome back here on ESPN 97.5. We got a lot of well-wishers here. Someone's showing you removing your condom catheter. It was...
I never even knew that was a
something
thing.
about Mary when he's in the bathroom and then he had this. Yeah, he flicked
Let
it.
me tell you, I didn't even know that was a thing. I learned that for the first time ever yesterday.
Did Lance just say Nicole tried to nacho him to death?
She did.
Could be.
She's like, I was like, does that make you proud? She goes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, I'm doing everything.
Well, how about participating?
Why do you think? Yeah. Why? Hey, we can make this where I keep the heart rate lower.
Yeah.
That's real easy. Just some simple changes, and I'm at a very reasonable heart rate.
So, but what was the dew point in the house was the question, with all
and
this
my
going
parents
on.
It was a little warm.
A little warm in
New
your parents'
Braunfels a desert. It's
Okay.
it's
Really is.
Austin is too.
Did you see Chaz's quote?
McCormick?
Yeah. I had to do it myself. I'm the one effing going out there. I love the advice and everyone's been trying to help me, but it's been 6 months. I need to go out there and stop being a bee. And he used the B word.
What does that mean?
Well,
I'm the one who has to do it. Like,
everyone is giving him, hey,
so
encouragement.
So
and
he's
blah, blah.
just got to get it done.
He's got to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I need to
his
go
head.
out there and stop being a bee.
These sombreros he's taking, he's in his own head.
No, he is in a bad place. He needs to get it. And man, that's such a shame too, because I thought Chaz was going to be a guy here for years and years to come, but apparently not. Man, he is really in his head. It's bad. So I listen. Jason Hayward's a guy with experience.
Why'd
Jason
somebody
Hayward
just
has
tell
been
me
great.
Frank and Beans?
What?
They weren't talking about the Frank and Beans scene.
No.
Dan goes, Frank and Beans. He sent that. That's not who I was.
No, you weren't the Frank.
No, he means Ben Stiller. Yeah.
not Frank and Beans.
Not Frank and Beans is not where I got it caught in a Warren was his name.
Ben Stiller.
Remember?
When he had the earpiece. The
Oh man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, that's not what
That's
not at all what that was.
So defensively,
Yeah.
Will Anderson Jr.
Well, to finish up on offense, you mentioned 9 offensive linemen, which is that's light. That's light. And honestly, I'm really surprised they're keeping Nick Breaker as the right tackle. He was a guard at Ole Miss. So I'm not super surprised that Charlie Heck got cut. I thought he was very average when I saw him this year in preseason. Blake Fisher's your swing. Nick Breaker's your guard, really. I don't think you have a fourth tackle. Breaker's an emergency guard, and maybe even Kenyon Green will play.
And so is Green.
I mean, Nick Breaker's an emergency right tackle, but yeah, I think Kenyon Green might even get in the game before Nick Breaker.
Right tackle?
Would. Yeah.
Tackle?
And then Breaker can play guard. So, it makes some sense if you're going to keep 9. Cade Stover, Brevin Jordan, the tight ends, Tegan Catoriano is
I heard broker on the broadcast, so we got to figure that one out. But I heard broker. But anyway, usually it's breaker, but I don't know. I'm not sure in this case. I heard broker. Okay, so defensively, so you look pretty good. You got Derek Barnett, Jerry Hughes backing up Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. That's fine.
This is a veteran offensive line, a defensive line.
Yeah, it really is. Mario Edwards and Foldy Fatakasi, okay. Tim Settle Jr., apparently he's okay, and he's going to back up. Khalil Davis is a good backup. So you're okay there. Danico Autry's going to come back after 6 games.
Danico's going to play in place of Mario Edwards' spot.
Heinisch is able to come off the IR after 4 weeks. Dylan Horton is on a non-football injury list.
Heinisch would have got picked if they dared to cut him. He was picked up.
Yes, absolutely. The linebacker position is interesting. Now with Christian Harris able to come back after 4 weeks, but you're starting with Al-Shair, Jake Hansen, To'o, Neville Hewitt, and Delshon Phillips. Interesting, and Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is there as well.
Jamal Hill's a rookie who
I don't know how much Jamal Hill's.
This is his second year playing linebacker ever. He switched from safety to linebacker last year at Oregon, so he's got 1 year. When you watch him on tape, he plays like it. He doesn't really read like he's fast. He runs in 4.41 or 4.43, so he's really fast.
Wow.
So he's really fast. So if he makes a mistake,
great special teamer.
And if he makes a mistake, he can make up for it with his speed, but you do not want him out on the field against a team that can, frankly, scheme him into bad spots.
Yeah, fool him. And that's what happens when you're young. So we'll see whether or not he gets on the field other than special teams. But he's going to be on all the teams.
No, he's going to. That's why he made this team, because of his.
Yeah.
I loved him. When they picked him, I texted over there and said, man, I think you guys stole him, because he is really, really a great athlete. And he's one of those guys with high upside that you take a chance with.
So the corner position, it's Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Miles Bryant, Jeff Okudah, and Chris Boyd. Those are the five that made the corners that made it. Jalen Petrie, Jimmy Ward, Kalen Bullock, Eric Murray, and MJ Stewart. All are five defensive. So you got 10 defensive backs.
Chris Boyd made it. So, C.J. Henderson was not a factor at all. So he's gone. But Chris Boyd is big, strong, physical. I know Troy Pride had some good snaps over there moving from safety to corner. But Chris Boyd is what it looks like for D'Amico. He wants big physical guys that can stop the run too. So that's he fits the body type. He fits the physicality. So does Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah's got tremendous traits. But Lassiter, look at how many rookies. Lassiter. So if you go to a fullback set, I don't know. They may have Cade Stover play fullback instead of British Brooks.
Yes, yeah.
Like if they need it in a game.
Stover and Jordan.
You're right. They may play one of those guys a fullback before they play British Brooks.
Yeah.
But Kalen Bullock is a starter as a rookie. Kamari Lassiter's a starter. And then we'll have to see how they handle British Brooks. But there's a good chance Blake Fisher.
Bullock starts and head of Petrie, Ward, Lassiter. Miles Bryant Miles Bryant might be your nickel.
You think at 5'8"?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it'll be Jalen. And I think Kalen Bullock starts.
We'll see. That'll be interesting to see how they.
And then I also think that at some point Blake Fisher is going to start, because these tackles have no history of staying healthy.
Well, yeah.
Somebody's going to miss time.
Yeah. Tunsil was healthy last year.
But not the other one.
Yeah, no. Titus was gone.
So having two tackles play together the whole year, that's not a thing for the Texans.
No, they don't do that. It's 743 ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. 73780-3776 is the number to get in here with us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You got any thoughts on all of that? You got thoughts on your Astros? You're more than welcome. Let's go. Get in here. It is basically a Friday show. What day is today?
Wednesday.
Wednesday? It's basically a Friday show. To me, for me anyway. To me, that's
well, Abigail's been quiet today.
What's your deal?
Did all the stuff that I did it shake you up to your core?
I was trying not to listen. You said to put headphones on.
Yeah.
So.
No, nobody wanted to hear that.
It was this.
Yeah.
The kids were on their way to school and they're hearing about.
No, they weren't. That's why I started early.
No, they go to school early.
Kids aren't going to school at
7:30.
It's 7:17.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
They're playing it in the bus.
I've got kids.
The
bus
bad
kids are not
that
listening to our app stream, and for sure they can't hear it on the signal in the bus.
The bad kids who have detention before
bad
school
kids
starts.
Don't go to school on time.
Oh.
Bad kids skip school. They're for sure not hearing.
Right. They're going to be hearing us at 9:30.
Yeah.
The bad kids. You're right. You're right about that. Anyway, 713-780-3776. Whoever wants to get in.
Yeah, let's go, Texans fans.
Yeah, let's
How come
go.
We're not hearing from Texans fans talking about this roster.
Well, but first, why don't you talk about this? Is a great time for Underdog, huh?
It's the best time. Underdog Fantasy. This is what makes it the best time. Underdog Fantasy is about, with Underdog Fantasy, you are able to play all the sports. And I'm going to focus on football in a second, but I want people to know that on the Pick'em Challenge that I talk about so much, it's crazy because it's literally every sport. They've got college football, high or low. You want to go higher or lower on the stat. They've got it for pro football. They've got it for baseball right now, going on right now. When they have UFC fights, they have things. They have golf all the time. They have hockey when it's going on. There's so many WNBA, everything. I talk about one sport. I might talk about football because we're going to lock in on football. I get that. But they're doing everything at Underdog Fantasy. They're way better than the other guys, and I'll tell you why. An easy-to-use interface on their app. You download it. You use promo code Lance for your first deposit. When you make that first deposit, they are going to give you this is going to be a great opportunity for you because they are going to give you a highly discounted pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So this is the first time I've ever seen this. It's real money. It's absolutely legal to play here in the state of Texas, and you can make great money, 325 times your original play when you're playing the Pick'em Challenge with Underdog Fantasy. Of course, season-long fantasy and daily fantasy available as well. You must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
All right, time to talk about the big golf tournament that's going on. Wildcat Golf Club, October 7th. I just played out at Wildcat the other day, and it is awesome. I'm telling you, they do an unbelievable job. And now with this a little bit of rain here, it's going to be just perfect out there. We want you to get on out there for the 5th annual CCA Golf Tournament. Tournament is packed with prizes, raffle, a silent auction, lots of fun. Plus, your entry includes lunch, dinner, and drinks. And there are drinks that are flying. These boys, they have a good time. The CCA boys have a good time. You know why? Because their whole life is fishing. And if your life is fishing too, then you need to give back. You need to go out. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to help raise money for fishing by playing golf. Okay? Wow. What a sacrifice you're making. Let's go. Get out there. Fill this thing up. 713-626-4222. 713-626-4222. Tell them you want to sign up for the golf tournament. That's 713-626-4222. Help out. If you fish, then you owe something because they do an unbelievable job here in Texas making sure that it's perfect for you. 713-626-4222. All right, welcome back here at ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. 749, 713-780-3776, 713-780-3776 is the number if you want to get in here, and you are getting in here. So you guys want to talk about the Texans and their lineup? Let's go. Javier is first up. He wants to get in here and talk about the 53. What do you say, Javier?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Normally, I don't get to listen to you guys in the morning. I'm usually listening to Killer Bees because I have a morning job, but they got the day off. But just wanted to ask y'all, so what do y'all's take on only having two quarterbacks right now? Because, you know, I was thinking that we're going to hold on to at least one of them. I'd have preferred that we let Mills go and keep Keenum and Boyle, but I'll let y'all chime in. Thanks, guys.
Well, I don't know why you'd want to let Mills go. Like, Mills has been pretty good in the preseason. Mills has NFL experience. Boyle, there's not a world where I want Tim Boyle over Mills. Yeah. Not at all. And as far as Keenum, they had no choice, Javier. They had no choice. He's injured. He injured his foot. He's on the injured list. And you're not going to keep a third quarterback as your designated for return.
Well, and they changed the rule this year that the third quarterback – it doesn't count against the 53. He does count against the 53 this year. So they changed that rule. And so
the COVID
you're not
stuff,
keeping
they've gotten rid of anything that was a COVID left over.
Last year was the last year of that. So it was a good rule, though, to have a third quarterback because everybody, you need a third quarterback. The Browns have four. The Browns have kept 4 quarterbacks.
For what?
Because Deshaun, are you sure Deshaun is going to be able to play?
No, but C.J. Stroud is. He's an Iron Man.
He is? Okay.
He did miss some time last year. Remember?
Well, who? CJ? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No. But you got 2.
2 games.
They've got 4. They got 4.
Well, that's their problem.
No, that is their problem.
Well, there's a lot of teams that will go with 2.
You know who could use a running back is with A.J. Dillon going down is the Packers could use a running back.
Yeah.
So let's go.
They
Packers.
run the outside zone, though.
So?
They're from this system.
I think he's perfect for it.
They run from trust me, he's not, or he wouldn't be available.
Okay.
He wouldn't be available. I'll find us I'll get a deal done.
Okay.
Let me look through enough.
I didn't know. So wait a minute.
Our
Are
lads.
you because when Al Davis's bodyguard asked you whether or not you could make trades for the Houston Texans,
You got to go back.
You
and
said
now
no.
There's people who don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
I just
Lance
said
tried to make a trade with
real
the Raiders
simple.
when Al
were
Davis was on the
we were
sideline
at
at a practice.
6'10" at that time, or no? I think we may have been at.
Yeah, I think. Well,
We were
maybe
at
not.
6'10", maybe not. And there was a player I liked out there that I'd watched, and I'm standing next to a golf cart that has Al Davis in it and his assistant, which some might say bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a small guy, and he did look imposing.
Right, but you
And
don't know,
I just
he might
took-
make
I
his,
just took my shot. I
travel
said-
schedule.
I said, "Hey, Mr. Davis, boy, I really like 92. I think you got a good one out there." And Al Davis kind of looked. He looked at me, and he looked up at that guy, and then he drove away in his cart. And the guy walked with me. Drove slow. The guy walked with him, and the guy comes over. His, as John calls him, bodyguard comes over and says, "Hey, how you doing? Do you work for the Texans?" And I said, No. I do sports talk radio here. I write a football, a fantasy football column. I don't even know if I wrote. If Fred Fowler hired me to write fantasy football at that time, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. I think I mentioned it. And he's like, "Oh, okay. I was just seeing if you were in any position to do deals for the Texans or not. I didn't know if you were." And right then I realized clearly overstepped.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, because Mr. Davis is only going to talk to people who I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. My bad. I'm a big fan of his, whoever this player was,
right.
who didn't end up being any good." And so, yeah, I give him credit. He was very politely admonished me for talking to Mr. Davis by asking me the simple question, "Are you in a position of authority to make deals for the Texans?"
Yeah.
And at
I
that
don't think
time,
you
I had to answer no.
I don't think you were.
Today, I would say I might be.
Yeah.
I know some people over there. I could talk to Mark Vandermeer, and he could pass it along to Nick.
Well, I'm not sure Mark's making any trades, but okay.
No, but Mark could tell Nick.
No, Mark could tell Nick, right. No. Absolutely. He's got access to Nick. I'm not sure he would, but he's got access. Hey, Mike Elko joins us in about 5 minutes from now, right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, which is nice. So we'll talk some Aggies football, and you're home for the Aggies. 9 o'clock is Josh Pate. He's going to join us. And then what's the fantasy football guy, Abigail?
His name is Nick, and he's coming at 9:30.
Nick? His name's Nick.
Do we have a last name
Nick
on it?
Whalen.
Last name? Something?
Whalen.
Nick Whalen.
Nick Whalen.
Okay.
He's one of the Whalen
Who's
brothers.
he from? Rotoballers or something like that?
Yes.
Is he one of the Whalen brothers?
Don't know what that means.
That's a question you'll have to ask him.
Okay. Aren't they Whalens? Aren't they the singers? Aren't they country singers? But never mind.
I don't know.
No one knows. What I know is that
RotoWire. He's with RotoWire.
RotoWire. Okay. Nick Whalen is going to join us at 9:30 to talk a little and see what happened after the cut down. Now we know. Now we know some things. And after CeeDee Lamb's contract, we know about that as well. And we figure out where
Blessings for CeeDee Lamb. Blessings.
Right now, though, we know Billy Brown, and Billy Brown is awesome. And Billy Brown is – I'm going to need Billy Brown once again. I did the Drano thing, and it's not working.
Yeah, go have a real pro do it.
I'm going to have a pro do it. And actually, I dropped a penny down there, and it's in the – and I can't get it out.
Who has pennies with them ever anymore?
Well, it fell out of my yeah.
Why do you have a penny in your pocket? Use your card. Beep.
No, I like
Tap
cash.
Tap it.
I like cash.
Tap it. Do you have gold and silver stored in your
cash.
home too?
So we go when we play poker. I like cash. Okay, I'm a cash guy, and sometimes cash falls down your sink, and then all of a sudden it's stuck, and here you are. Got to call Billy Brown again, and Billy Brown's guys come out and they go, yeah, this was really simple. You could have probably done it yourself. I know, but I'm just too stupid. Here's the deal: is if you're stupid like I am, and you need a plumber for stuff because you don't know anything, well, that's me. And Billy Brown's guys have come out and they fixed everything for me because, well, they're really, really smart at this. I'm not so much. You might be better at this. I know this. Billy Brown's guys are great. No matter what it is, that if you have a plumbing issue, there's a number that you have to have in your phone. 713-488-6238. Or is it 281? 281-488-6238. 281-488-6238. That's Aqueduct Plumbing. On your home for the Aggies, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can also hear us really well at 97.9 HD2. So listen up that way when you're listening to your Aggie game on Saturday against Notre Dame. Coach Mike Elko joining us here for the first time as the head coach of the Aggies. Coach, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Coach, it is, man, boy, you walk into it. I mean, it sure would be nice. Sometimes it's nice to start a season with a little bit easier game than Notre Dame. But on the other side of that coin is that your guys know that carrot ahead of them, that first game. Boy, we better be ready because we got Notre Dame that first game.
Yeah, for sure. I think for the last 8 months, anytime anyone has relaxed in this building, we've been able to point to this opener as kind of a way to refocus everybody. And so it's finally here. It's finally upon us. And, you know, we're chomping at the bit to get out there Saturday night and get this thing kicked off.
Coach, I'm curious. One of the things that people are pointing out is the youth of Notre Dame's offensive line. They've got a very young offensive line in terms of starting experience. And, you know, A&M, it was just 3 years ago, your guys were I think, one of the finalists for the Joe Moore Awards, which I'm on the selection committee, and I thought I voted them second. They finished third. I voted them second. I thought A&M played great on the O-line. You talk about you're a defensive coach by nature. Can you talk about the idea of getting Aggie football back to really dominating in the trenches?
Yeah, I think in this conference, what you do on the line of scrimmage is critical. And I think controlling both sides of the line of scrimmage, your ability to control the offensive line, be able to put yourself in really good positions down and distance-wise, protect your quarterback, keep him healthy. Obviously that's been something we haven't been able to do the right way the last few years. And, and then obviously on the defensive line to be able to not only stop the run, but affect the quarterback in a lot of different ways, pressures, disruptions. I think the line of scrimmage determines success in this conference nowadays more than ever.
Mike Alco, head coach, Aggies, with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Coach, walking out for the first time, you've been there, you've done that, you've seen this crowd, you know how much they love that Aggie football, 100,000 strong. But as the head coach, is a little bit of butterflies this week?
Yeah, I don't know about butterflies. I think as you go through the week, you're trying to make sure that you're covering everything that you could possibly cover to give your kids the best opportunity to have success. And I think that's probably what keeps me up at night right now. And then, we'll go into the weekend and things will start moving quick. I'm sure there'll be a moment when you stand at the top of the tunnel following the drummers down onto Kyle Field for the first time where you'll take it in for a minute. But, really it's about making sure that we're putting these kids in the best position to be successful and kind of get the reward they've been hoping for all the work they put in since we got here 8 months ago.
I'm not trying to ask you a leading question at all, but I'm genuinely curious how much you can take from your background with Riley Leonard, the new quarterback at Notre Dame, who had been at Duke. Very talented, dealt with injuries last year, which is unfortunate. But how you've been with Riley Leonard, you know him a little bit. Does that help you going in from a study standpoint, or is it you just hit reset because he's in a new offense and it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I think obviously there's some familiarity with him and who he is as a quarterback, but I think, I said this in the press conference earlier this week, I think there's more of an advantage that he has having practiced against this defense every day for 2 years. And so usually when we go into a game, we're going against a quarterback who's only seen our defensive system and structure on film. Maybe if he was lucky, he played against it 1 year ago. We're going to go against a guy who's got 45, 50 practices going every day against this structure. And so, I think the advantage goes both ways, to be honest with you.
What a scheduling oddity, though, huh, Coach?
Yeah, it's the new world of college football, right? That a year ago this time, him and I were getting ready to go on a national stage together to play Clemson, and now all of a sudden him and I are going on a national stage to play against each other at two different schools. And so, college football has certainly changed a lot in the last few years.
How big a loss is Ruben Owens?
Yeah, Ruben's a great player, and he put in an unbelievable amount of work this offseason, and so I hurt for him because I know he wanted to go out there and really show everybody what he's done and what he's capable of. Unfortunately, he's not able to go, but we're also really confident in the group that we have, and I think Le'Veon Moss is primed to step into a really strong role this year and kind of be our featured back, and then Amari Daniels and E.J. Smith will certainly be there to complement him.
Connor Wegman coming off injury. New offense now, and you're
There's a lot of excitement around him. People are
very excited.
Are jacked about Connor.
A lot of in rankings, and Coach, you don't look at the rankings like we do of media people of what Connor means, but Connor's up there as far as he gets a lot of respect around the country as far as his quarterback play goes. How about adapting to this offense, and what did you think this preseason with him?
Yeah, I think Connor's had a great summer and a great fall camp. I think he's healthy now, which was big for him. I think he's getting more and more comfortable in the system, and we're getting more and more comfortable with who he is and what he's capable of. And so I think, probably over the last 3-4 weeks, we've kind of settled into a really good rhythm with him in terms of, what does play calling look like with a healthy Connor Wigman as your quarterback, and what are the things that you can do to put him in the best position to be successful. And, Connor's a kid I've got a ton of confidence in. I actually have known him since I was here last time as the defensive coordinator. Him and my son played baseball in the same organization going back 5-6 years ago. And so I was down in Bridgeland when he was in high school. I'm just excited to see him healthy leading this Aggie offense this year.
Yeah, he's a hell of an athlete. So nothing against, and I saw your quotes about the facilities, Coach. Nothing against Duke or anything else, but you're in a place now. It's got to be awfully nice to wake up every morning and go to these facilities and have everything that you could possibly need.
Yeah, I think as a coach, what you want is you want to get to a place where you know there's no ceiling on your success. And I think with everything that Texas A&M has done to invest in football over the last, specifically 12, 13 years since we joined the SEC, and even beyond that, but specifically in the recent time, I think what you look at is a program that is primed to be everything we make it. And now it's our job to come in here and, fill these facilities with the right people, the right leadership, the right vision, the right plan, so that ultimately Texas A&M football gets where it belongs, which is at the top of college football across the country.
Advantage for you having been there before, Coach, that knowing where everything was as opposed to going to a new place like you did when you went to Duke?
Well, it was certainly an advantage on my first day when I knew how to get into the building and into my office. But no, I think, I think having some familiarity with what Texas A&M is, with our traditions, with our university, with the area, with the state of Texas, I think coming in with those 4 years of experience here, I think kind of helped me formulate a plan of what we needed to do to get this program going really quickly. And so, I think we had a real good idea of what we had to do, where we had to enhance, where we had to keep doing some of the things that we were doing well, and I think we went out and we did that.
Boy, it is a portal fest on your roster, and you guys are one of the best in college football at portaling in players this year, and they're going to be in primary roles too. I mean, you got a lot of guys, most notably your big defensive end, the bully out of Purdue, Nick Scorton. Can you talk about him and anybody else you want to mention that may play very prominent roles coming in that will be new to Aggie fans?
Yeah, I think nowadays there's a lot of different ways to acquire talent, and we're always going to focus on high school. I think when you're in the state of Texas and you have such proud high school football tradition, it's important that you start recruiting high school in the state of Texas. But I think as you get into, looking at what your roster is going to look like in the immediacy, I think there's some areas you can go out and improve. And I think this offseason with all of the turnover, with the head coaching change, maybe we were forced to do that a little bit more than you ordinarily would want to. But I think obviously Nick Skurton's the headliner, and I think he's going to play a huge role for us. We were able to add a couple guys on the offensive line, and they're going to step in and play big roles, especially our Majay Reed-Adams. And we did a lot in the secondary, and I think you're going to see a transfer-heavy group back there in the secondary. And then just a lot of guys that have played a lot of really good football across the country that we were able to add onto this roster. And so it'll be fun watching that all come together Saturday.
You mentioned Reed Adams. He was part of an offensive line that I think Lance Leipold has done a terrific job over there at Kansas. And what he's done up front in getting the most out of those offensive linemen and the most out of that, because they throw the ball, but they'll run the ball too. I mean, they're pretty balanced. And I think that's a really good get for you over there. Talking about Reed Adams coming from, you got your center comes over from Utah, your right guard comes from, and then you got a tight end in Trey Watson coming over from Fresno State. I cannot stress how different the Aggie team is going to look on the field for Aggie fans this year. Aggie fans already know, you're keeping up with it every day, but this is going to be fun to see how everyone connects together. Is that a concern for you, since there are so many new faces, and is continuity an issue, or have you been able to work that out through practices?
No, I don't know that it's continuity. I feel good about that part. I think obviously I would love for every starter that we're rolling out there Saturday night to have started a game in Kyle Field previously, so that they know what it's like, they know what the atmosphere is like, and there's nothing they're going through for the first time. I think that's probably the biggest thing is just getting through that initial feeling of running onto Kyle and doing that. Nick Skurton, you mentioned as a defensive end, Nick's played a lot of college football. He's played it really well. I have all the confidence in the world. He's going to have a great game Saturday night, but he's still going to run onto Kyle Field for the first time,
right,
and have to kind of get through the emotion and feeling of that, right? And so that's probably the biggest hurdle that I want to get through. I think once we settle in, then it's just football. And I think from a continuity standpoint, we've done a lot to put him in position to be successful.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to a guy who was hidden under Jimbo, but I think intentionally, because Jimbo knows how talented he is. I got a chance to meet him. Your analytics director, I think, is brilliant. I think Craddock is a brilliant. I just want to give him a quick shout out, because you've got a guy there who I think is just one of the sharper guys in college football. And I know you know him from when you were there previously. You come back from Duke, and he's there again. And I wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to mention anything about him. I think it's one of the hidden things that's really important in college football nowadays is sports science and analytics is becoming a much, much bigger deal.
Yeah, for sure. I think Craddock does a phenomenal job, and the way we've been able to integrate sports science into our off-season programming with Coach Tommy Moffitt being added from LSU too, I think we are training our kids at an elite level, and that's not just making sure that they're protected and safe. It's also making sure that we're improving and enhancing who they are as players. And so I think we're doing a sports science at an elite level. I think recruits come in here and they sit down through some of the presentations that Tommy does, that Craddock does, and I think they're recognizing, wow, my path to becoming a first-round draft pick is really going to happen at A&M.
You know Tommy Moffitt. You've heard of Tommy Moffitt, right?
Yeah.
He's my brother. He was the strength coach for J.T. Curtis. My brother played at John Curtis in Louisiana. Tommy was there. Tommy Moffitt is the epitome of what a strength coach looks like and what he is. Tommy Moffitt is all strength coach. Let me tell you something.
And they're
That's
nuts.
a great gift.
And for the most part,
they're
strength
nuts.
coach,
Yeah, they're a little off.
They're nuts.
But they're yeah, I mean they really are.
Yeah.
Ben Herbst who went over to from Michigan over to, they're all different, but you got a really good one with Tommy Moffitt. That's a really good get, coach.
And that's kind of a big deal, kind of important because they've got their hands on the kids
really,
the most.
There's a reason strength coaches are getting paid now.
That's right.
They're really
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a critical hire for us, going out and getting him, and his resume speaks for itself.
No. We'll let you go, Coach, because we know you're busy, but we really appreciate it. We wish you had all season long, but this was nice to spend time with you here, Coach. And if we can do it again anytime throughout the season, we'd really like it. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys having me on. We'll talk again soon.
You got
All
Coach.
Right,
Thanks.
there's Mike Elko, head coach of your Ags, taking on Notre Dame on Saturday, 6 o'clock, Kyle Field. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different for the guy from Kansas or Fresno running onto the field at Aggie Land.
Even Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, he played at Michigan, so he's played, but these are people cheering for you.
Yeah, right.
You didn't have this many people cheering for you at Purdue. You had them cheering at Ohio State for the other team.
Iowa,
Michigan.
Iowa was good. They had
Iowa fans good?
Iowa fans are really
Nebraska
good.
still
there,
show up. Maybe not as much Purdue.
No, Purdue not so much.
Indiana not a big. But, yeah, you go to
Fresno.
You go to Kyle Field. Kyle Field's as good as I've seen. I mean, LSU night games really good. Kyle Field's always great. I mean, the Aggie fans are. I truly believe that Texas and Texas A&M are probably now, with the age of NIL, 2 of the top 6 jobs in college football, because so much of it now is how much money do you have.
Yep.
I mean, really, unfortunately,
those 2 are 1 and 2.
They're loaded.
Yeah.
They're loaded. The facilities, the state of Texas to recruit to, and those are all major elements. It's easy to get into those areas from a flight. I say easy. I mean, it's an hour and a half drive for you flying to Houston. You drive there. Yeah. That's not bad.
Right. So I'm going to tell you this. The HRP is here. Chris Fisher, he loves his Aggies. He probably listened to that conversation right there, and he's just, I mean, he's near euphoria right now, okay? And because them Ags are taking on Notre Dame, Chris has got Aggies talking about HRP right here on our air. They promote it. They love it. Mike Holly's a Coug. But it doesn't matter what college you went to. If you're looking for the best way to get your HR and your payroll to your people, it's HR&P. Look, right now, your business, I don't know where you're at. If you're growing right now, if you've got 15, 20, 25 employees, all of a sudden you're getting into a neighborhood that you don't know. Okay, you're getting into a neighborhood of payroll that you're starting to expand your payroll department, which is not the way to go about this thing. The way to go about this thing is get people who are experts added. Let them do it. Okay, let them take care of your HR. Keep your payroll department at a minimum. We've had 75 employees here. We got one person in our payroll department. That's Laura, and the job is easy. The job is wonderful. Well, I don't want to say her job is easy. All I'm saying is that they can't make it any easier at HR&P. And then the tax time, Matt, you got Affordable Care Act experts taking care of your stuff for you when you don't know anything about this stuff. You sell your widgets and let HRP take care of the rest. All you need is hrp.net, 281-880-6525 or hrp.net. All right, welcome back here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Good conversation with Mike Elko. He's a good coach. It'll be interesting to see where the Ags are a bubble team, right? Okay, who you got? Who you got, Lance?
They're already a bubble team. We haven't started.
Who you got winning the conferences?
Oh, we'll have to save
Well,
it for
if you
tomorrow.
don't have them winning the conference, they're a bubble team.
We have to save it for tomorrow. I have Texas winning the conference.
You do?
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, I have Texas and, winning the conference. I got to think about that, winning the conference. I think Texas is in, and I think Georgia's in. I'm not sure on Alabama.
I wouldn't sleep on Alabama. I would not.
No, I'm not sure on Alabama.
Taylor DeBoer is a good coach.
Yeah, he is. Kalen DeBoer is one of the best coaches.
Yes.
Have you seen his recruiting classes? They're incredible. You know, Alec was up from 2 to 5 in the morning day before yesterday, working on cut-ups. He's like grinding like a mother. I said, you better be getting your grades too, since you're on a scholarship.
Yeah.
We don't need you working for, I appreciate him working for free. I don't have a problem, but that's how you get your foot in the door over there. But hey, let's make sure that GPA stays high. He goes, I know, but he's one of the guys he works with has COVID, and so Alex trying to do all the work. And I'm like, because he screwed up the other day, and he got in when he was supposed to start. He was just getting into the office. He mistimed how far it was from where he lives now. And he's like, and the guy chewed on him. Hey, you can't be coming in here. He goes, 2 minutes later, they found a mistake in one of my cut-ups. And it was the worst. He's like, I hate, the guy told me, you got to be better than this. And because Alex been working, he's been doing a great job. He goes, after that, he had to get in at 9:20. He said, I show up at 8 o'clock every morning now. He gets in an hour and 20 minutes early. He has this huge fear of failure. And so he's like up at 5 in the morning. He was coming back from Alabama at 5 in the morning after doing cut-ups all night. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm glad you're motivated. Fear is a great motivator when you're young.
It really is.
When you're young. Now, for you, when you were young and doing TV and you told that guy to go F himself, or
no,
what did you tell him?
No, I was
in Arizona.
Not in Arizona. I didn't do that.
It's
Green Bay.
What did you tell him?
I told him, never mind. We don't have to get into this
yes,
again.
Tell me what you told him.
I just told him he was an a-hole. That's all. And you know what? I wasn't young anymore. I'd been in the business for a while.
Abigail can't believe you.
What?
I can't believe that you told him he was.
You were not in a position of power.
I'm not a great employee, Abigail. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way.
He threatened one of our bosses he would kick his ass.
And
it was at a previous radio
not the
station.
best employee, Abigail, just so you know.
Did you get fired?
I did not get fired.
No, he had too many commercial spots.
I guess it worked.
Yeah.
That's the thing, Abigail. Once you have enough advertisers,
you can do anything.
You can do
anything.
almost anything.
If you don't
almost anything.
Don't push don't rock the boat. Okay.
No, we don't want you to do it, but don't get a what would John do bracelet.
That's going to be a segment, I feel like, in the years to come.
Yeah, it will be. Don't do
anything I did.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Don't do it differently, Abigail. Do it differently. So what a week we got. So you don't even want to. You don't know who's going to win the SEC. It's going to be Georgia. Georgia's going to win the SEC.
Probably Georgia, but I mean, they didn't last year.
Yeah, they lost to Alabama.
But I'm trying to think of how many guys they've lost again off the defense, and I'm not really sure it matters anymore.
I think Texas is going to be a bubble team. Texas is.
You think bubble team?
Well, I think they're probably going to get in. They're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
Aggies are a bubble team. I think
they've
got a tough schedule.
I mean, John, I showed you how many transfers they have.
I know.
Here's how many portal guys they have. A&M has starting right now. I showed John this. It's like staggering. Here, I think it's 9 starters who came from the portal, and across the roster, I think there's over 20 players.
Yeah.
Who are from other schools. I don't know what
why
to
not
expect.
use it, especially like he said,
in his
first year when he didn't have, when he wasn't in all of these Texas high schools already and didn't have an edge on young players. Plus, you can plug and play now, these portal kids.
No, you have to, because Jimbo, they lost. You lose some of the recruiting class once Jimbo leaves. Some of it that were locked in, you're going to lose. So he portal guys in. But remember, Elko's got a background with A&M previously. He's not starting from scratch. But one thing I would say, Florida State has 3 talented defensive linemen from the portal from Miami, Alabama, and Georgia, and they got whipped up front. And I don't think it's – and I think if you just think Florida that if you just think portal guys immediately make the difference, I think they need time. Now, I think they'll eventually be good, really good. But Florida State, it's early. These portal guys are in a new situation. Like, you got to watch that when you have a bunch of them, because Florida State's portal guys didn't like it too much against a Georgia Tech team that was established and solidified with their offensive line up front. They ran the ball on them. So, but the flip side of that coin is, man, look how many teams have portal guys in and had tremendous success. It's all up to your quarterback.
Who you got in the Big Ten, Oregon or Ohio State?
Ohio State. I got them win a national championship. Ohio State, Oregon will be there. Michigan, I just think, is going to fall off this year.
I'm a big Will Howard fan, but Dylan Gabriel's good. A lot of people are high on Oregon this year.
I think they're both good.
Really high on Oregon that they're going to get there. But I think Ohio State is going to. They're really talented. I like Ohio State. Who you got in the Big 12?
Man, I mean, you lost your two hammers. I haven't even thought about it up to this point.
I got Utah.
They're the consistent. I mean, they're well coached. They know what they are and they do what they do.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad. I'm also curious. I need to see how Baylor checks in. There were some moments I really liked Baylor last year and thought they were very competitive. I want to see how they do, how Dave Aranda does this year. I think he could be a sneaky team over there.
Yeah.
I think Kansas is probably a team to really watch.
But Daniels doesn't stay healthy.
Well, if he does, though.
Bean actually outplayed him last year.
Well, you got Ballard's son backing up.
Yeah.
Cole Ballard ended up getting 3 starts.
Oh, yeah?
Last year. Yeah, they lost Jason Bean. But, yeah, their whole thing is if their quarterback's healthy,
yeah.
He's a little fellow, though.
Yeah. We'll see. But I'm going to tell you this. I heard through the grapevine. TCU is extremely talented.
Oh, really?
Reloaded and is extremely talented.
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, so
it feels like it's up for grabs.
But yeah, I got to go with Whittingham. I mean, he is such a good coach. I don't know that there's a better coach in the Big 12.
No, he's one of the top.
He's top in the country.
I mean, he's top 8. He's top 5, top 6 coaches in the country.
Yeah.
He always, you know why? Because this is what Utah football, and this is why sometimes it's good getting in a spot like Utah, because you have you can control from Utah. This is who we are. We don't have the pressure of recruiting Well, they do, but they get a lot of Polynesian players, but they recruit California actually, but they can recruit from everywhere. They don't have a great base in Utah. It's okay. But what they are is that this is who we are on offense. This is who we are on defense. We're going to get the same type of thick-ankled Polynesian guards that come in here. We're going to get tackles who are okay, borderline pros here and there. And we get tough, physical, Cam Reiser, hard-nosed quarterbacks in here. And that's what Chris Peterson used to have at Boise State. And he brought that same mentality to Washington when he was there. But, yeah, there's something to be said about playing in kind of a mid to upper major school like that. Like, that's what Lance Leipold might be. They just don't have as much recruiting, as much of a recruiting base. But you might be able to stay at Kansas and be a really good coach for a long time once you get it where you want it to be. I think if he wanted to, what's his name? At Nebraska now, Matt Rule could have done that at Baylor.
Yeah.
He could have just sat at Baylor and just done the Baylor way forever if he wanted to. But he had ambitions.
And he walked into a hard place because Nebraska doesn't have any talent. So you got to recruit nationally, and they're not a national power. They're not a national name. But they got facilities now. Nebraska's going to be heard from with
now, Matt Rule did it at Temple. He quickly built it at Baylor.
He's got a quarterback now he didn't have before in Dylan Raiola.
He's got a chance to be special,
and another
too.
quarterback that you're going to have to look at, Noah Fafita out of Arizona.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about him.
Yeah, a lot of talk. So Arizona might have something to say about the Big 12 as well.
I forgot Arizona's in a Big 12.
Arizona's a Big 12 team. And of course it is.
I think the two teams I like most in Big 12 are going to be Arizona and Utah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Time for me to talk about, and I saw him yesterday. I saw Matt Hogue yesterday, and he was working on some stuff with his general manager over there. And I saw him over at Damaris. As a matter of fact, he did Yanni Damaris's backyard, and he put in a perfect putting green for him. And so Yanni called me and said, "Hey, Matt wants to talk about doing some advertising," and I've dubbed them the exterior decorators, because it's more than just, okay, we're not going to just cut the grass, we're not just going to put some rocks in. What we're going to do, how about we put in a fire pit? How about we put in an entire outdoor kitchen with the stone and the beautiful, and how about we put in a swimming pool? He told me he did but this is a huge acres of backyard. But he did a backyard with basically an entire golf course putting green and pickleball courts and tennis courts, and all in one backyard, swimming pool, everything. Now, this is not just let's throw a pool in. We're really, really going to make this backyard something that's special. So if you're looking for someone that this is what they do, okay, exterior designers to make your backyard a destination backyard where you are proud, you have parties and you have entertain, and this is what HogueLS.com is here for. Hogue Landscape Services, HOGUELS.com. They are going to make your backyard something special. HOGUELS.com, HogueLS.com.
Hey guys, Gulf Coast Windows and siding. Let me, I spend a lot of time on windows. Let me talk about siding. I don't want siding to feel lonely. Siding's a big deal. Siding adds a level of durability and class to your home. It makes your home look better. Wood, if you have wood on the exterior, there's a good chance you got an older home, first of all. And secondly, the wood in your home is going to eventually become dilapidated. The water is going to do damage to it, and you're going to have to get it either replaced or you're going to have to make repairs. Then you're going to have to paint it. Then you have to clean it. Do you know I might take a pressure washer out there every 2 years on my siding and give it a clean, and it's actually not even that. I mean, it just looks great. It stands up to the elements. It not only makes the home look better, it's more energy efficient. The siding jobs that they do for Gulf Coast Windows and Siding, they do an amazing job of keeping the work site clean and getting it done quickly so that the work is finished, the work looks fantastic, and you can get the different types of colors of hardy, of the hardy plank that you're looking for, so that you can match it to whatever design you want to have for the exterior of your home. Allstate Windows and Allstate Windows and Siding are also doing a great job of making sure that you are getting the best in windows, and they're made right here in the state of Texas. So you go to Allstate Windows and you let them figure out your windows for you, your siding for you, and Allstate's going to give you a deep discount for being an ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 listener. Don't miss out. Allstate Windows and Siding.com, family owned for years. Allstate Windows and Siding.com.
Welcome back here on ESPN 97. That might be a make good.
There's some confusion.
There might be a make good
There's some
there.
confusion afoot.
So you still have a Gulf Coast Chevy spot that he has to do, Abigail, just so you know.
We've had some confusion on the show today.
Well, yeah, a little Gulf Coast Chevy, Craig Discern.
They did tell me the medicine
I should have said
took
Craig
yesterday
Discern.
was going to last for about 24. I kept tasting something. I was like, something tastes like metallic. Oh yeah, that's the stuff you had. Yeah, I'll be with you for a little bit. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah. Justin Steele was told to go. Did you see? There was a lot of stuff happened yesterday. Yeah, apparently, Blanco gets suspended for 6 games while the umpire, go wash your hands. There's some 60 stuff on it, Edwin D. Okay, what? I mean, the Justin Steele, go, just wash your hand.
Yeah, I don't get the inconsistency. They must have really thought that whatever Renel Blanco did must have really been bad, because how is he getting treated different than pretty much every pitcher?
Edwin Diaz got tossed immediately too. So, I mean, it's just there's no that Major League Baseball.
Who were the players?
Major League Baseball sucks.
Let me ask you, who are the players who didn't get tossed?
The players, Justin Steele.
Okay,
and a couple of Yankees didn't get tossed.
So are they all Latin American pitchers? Are they only throwing out the Latin American pitchers?
Apparently racist.
Maybe we need to take a look at. Maybe Angel Hernandez wasn't wrong.
Maybe they are racist.
Or maybe Angel Hernandez is bad at umpiring.
Did you see Amazon has given the Kelsey brothers $100 million to do their podcast there?
Makes me sad. I don't cheer. I pray on their downfall.
What?
I just don't want to see people do better than me.
Well,
I'm going to pray on people's downfall from now on.
100, a hundy.
Yeah.
Yeah, $100 million.
Oh, yeah. Travis Kelce's going to keep playing football. You guys are stupid if you think this isn't his last year. Chiefs fans try to come after me for that. I'm like, dude, he's done. He keeps getting hurt. He's starting to dwindle. He's got Taylor Swift now.
Yeah.
And he's going to have this deal. Like, he and his brother were going to step into a bunch of money. It was just a matter of where. Why? So he can make.
Why is he playing?
He's going to make the same money not playing.
Yeah. I mean, or
Give
more.
me the same
He's
money
got
to
Taylor
not
Swift
do radio.
money now.
Yeah. Give me. Well, do you have Wendy money?
Yeah, half.
Well, yeah, if you leave her.
No, she leaves me. That's what.
Do you have her? Okay, so if you're together with her, do you get half?
No, I don't get
Okay, so he doesn't have Taylor Swift money.
No, but
he doesn't need Taylor Swift money. Now he can make her pick up the dinner tab.
Yeah.
If he's running short, if he's running low.
Yeah, I'm hoping he doesn't run low with his $100 million contract.
You don't get paychecks. Remember, the NFL player, how hard would that be for you?
To go from.
You don't get a paycheck for like 8 months, 7 months.
0, right? Oh, no, it'd be impossible.
You don't get a paycheck for 7 months.
Yeah.
Did you know that, young Abigail? NFL players only get paid during the season after their, for their games. That's it. Once they hit February, most of February, March, April, May, June, July, they are screwed. No game checks.
I did not know that.
I think a lot of people don't know that. I would be screwed too. Every month that you get paid, you have to act like it's 2 months of pay.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You have to, you got to be, you really have to be, and which is why a lot of guys go broke, which is why a lot of guys just, because that big check comes in and let's go, and then it gets to the off season. Oh, wait, and by the way, you're not making the team this year. Oh, my God. I mean,
yeah, I know. Yeah. I've been spending everything.
Yeah, yeah.
How about Lewis Seen out of First round pick 2 years ago out of Minnesota was cut.
There's
Had a hard time staying on the field. Man, every year I look at the cut list because I want to see guys that I predicted. It really hammers home how short an NFL career is for most people.
how about the NFL 2022 NFL draft, quarterback draft? 2022, just 2 years ago.
That's Malik Willis traded.
Okay. Name how many guys quarterbacks drafted,
Matt Corral is out of the league.
are still with their teams.
Okay, well, not Kenny Pickett, not Malik Willis. Matt Corral got cut. You had
Can you name the two guys?
Davis Mills is one. Was he 21?
Davis Mills was not. He's 21.
No, this is his fourth year. He was 21 for sure.
Um,
No, he was. Davis Mills was Brevin Jordan and Davis Mills.
yeah,
came in
Davis
together.
Mills had 2 years, and then last year he had 2 years to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is his fourth year. Yeah, so he would have been 21. No. Yes, 22, 23. Yes.
There were 9 quarterbacks.
Who else? Who else are the quarterbacks? Oh, Desmond Ridder is cut. He's out of football. He was in that draft. So it was Matt Corral, Desmond Ridder,
How about that?
Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett. There was a fifth quarterback in there who was considered. There were like 5 of them.
Well, here's the
else?
list. Here's the list. Malik Willis was the first one drafted.
No longer.
He's no longer with it. He was
Green
traded.
Bay.
Kenny Pickett, gone.
With do you remember where he
Eagles.
is? Yep,
He's with the Eagles. Sam Howell.
he's still there.
No.
Wait,
Sam
he's not
Howell's
at
not
Washington?
gone. He's gone.
Oh no, he's.
He's with Seattle now.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's
Yeah.
in Seattle.
Yeah. Desmond Ridder cut
Desmond
yesterday.
Ridder cut.
Matt Corral out of
Cut.
the league. Chris Oladokan.
He was Pittsburgh. Is he still there?
He's not still there.
Okay.
Bailey Zappi. Not
he still in New
there.
England?
No.
Okay.
He's not in New England. The only 2 left, Brock Purdy
Huh. Yeah.
and Skylar Thompson.
Wow. 7th rounders
Yes.
are the only 2
The
left.
only 2 left.
Wow.
Yeah,
What a.
that's how bad that draft was.
Ooh.
But it was bad. It was bad anyway. We
No,
knew.
I mean we knew it was bad, but it's amazing how many people get fooled by these. Malik throws some trick shots, and people are like, "Oh my God, this is generational arm talent." Like, can't play. I thought Matt Corral was going to be the best quarterback of all of them. He had issues, too many issues to break through. And I'll just leave it at that. Desmond Ridder, he was wildly. There's a lot of things you like about him, but he came on late. Like he became. Anytime guys come on late, like Kenny Pickett, you wonder, like, hey, where was this? Why did it just happen in 1 year? Yeah, what a bad quarterback draft. And look at 2021. I mean, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, like that's 2 straight years.
about
And Trevor Lawrence, you've only got that's 2 straight years of bad quarterback.
How about that
drafts.
Clayton Tune beat him out?
Clayton Tune
beat out Desmond Ridder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, they traded for Desmond Ridder. Arizona traded for Desmond
And they
Ridder,
cut him.
and then they're like, Tune's better.
Yeah. How about that?
Desmond Ridder played in the college playoffs against Alabama.
Yeah. And then gets cut.
But pro football is a different sport.
Yeah, it is. It's totally different. And big ups to Clayton Tune for getting that done. Clayton Tune, who I'm turning his career around. I was telling Dan, Clayton Tune's killing you. He's killing you. He's young. Shut up. He's going to be really good. And then he was really
Were you drinking when you were yelling? Well, you were accurate.
I was accurate.
You were
Listen,
accurate.
Now, was he killing him at the time? He was killing him at the time. I'm going to be honest with him. But then Clayton Tune turned it around, and he was really good for him. His penultimate year there, and then he was just okay his last year. But he was really, really good that 1 year where they won the conference. So, but Clayton Tune being a pro, nicely done, Clayton Tune. Congratulations. Because when trade for Desmond Ridder, a backup quarterback, you figure, well, I guess that might be it for Clayton. But he worked his ass off, and he's there. Good for him. God bless. And speaking of which, I got to remind you that University of Houston. Come on, let's get out there. We're going to be giving away the tickets. When 9:40 today, in an hour, and an hour from now, we got tickets to give away. But I also want to tell you that University of Houston football starting up this Saturday, 6 o'clock. You're looking for a great place to go. And listen, talk about an affordable deal. Tickets starting at just $15. Now, you can wait and get them here, but it's $15, really? $15. Take the family. You want to go out to a game? They want to enjoy the football season. You know how expensive it is to get to a pro football game? It's expensive now, okay? And everything. Well, everything at TDECU Stadium is less. You're just going to spend less, and you're going to get the entertainment value. Listen, this is a tough game, too. UNLV, they're only, I think the Cougs are 2.5-point favorites right now. It's this Saturday, August 31st, 6 p.m., TDECU Stadium. Hopefully, it's the first game for Willie Fritz, his first game as coach. We'll see what they're doing differently. It's a new era of Houston Cougar football. Let's go. Tickets start at just $15. Go to uhcougars.com/tickets or call 713-GO-COUGS right now to get your tickets. 713-GO-COUGS, uhcougars.com/tickets. Come early. Be loud. We're red.
Hey, so Underdog Fantasy, I want to make sure that you guys understand that Underdog Fantasy is one of the only place, I believe it's the only place where you are going to be able to find 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower with statistics provided by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is going to have quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. They'll have some tackle stats, things like that. So you'll go to an NFL. What happens is, for example, you'll go to an NFL game they'll have set up, or just the players, and you'll just scroll down the list and have your, you guys sit around thinking football all the time, thinking about the games, doing your fantasy football. And so you're going to say, well, I know I've already figured out how this game's going to go. Well, great. Take that knowledge that you've crafted and created, your own personal IP, as it were, and now go higher or lower. Look at the stats they have out there and say, oh, no, this is definitely going lower because he's facing a really good cornerback. Use that knowledge to make real money. It is real money they're playing for. It's completely legal here in the state of Texas. And you can go higher or lower with the Pick'em Challenge and a chance to win 325 times your money if you are playing those scorchers, which are, you'll see the chili peppers next to them, which means you can win multipliers of your money. It's so much fun. You're watching your games anyway. Play along as you watch with Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use promo code Lance to claim your new customer offer of a Give Me First Pick, and you can not only get the Give Me First Pick, but you're going to get a big bonus deposit offer for you as well. So all you have to do is be 18 or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
So you asked, we had Mike Elko and Lance pointed out Nick Skirton, who transferred from Purdue over to Texas A&M. Well, Nick, Bruce Feldman, and a couple other guys, actually our guy, our good friend to the show, Sam Kahn Jr. and Manny
Is he
Navarro.
our good friend?
He is. Well, he's a friend of mine, not yours.
Okay.
Maybe. But they rated the best transfer portal players. Caleb Downs of Alabama, the defensive back, is number 1. Dylan Gabriel's number 2, and Nick Skirton's number 3. Number
Skirton
4 was Cam Ward.
Yeah, Skirton is going to be the guy.
Skirton, he just said filthy. He's filthy.
Yeah.
10 sacks last year.
Yeah, he's a
Big Ten
powerhouse.
best.
He's a very physical player in the mold of George Karlaftis. I mean, they like having those power guys. He's 285 pounds, like 6'4". He's a big bully off the edge. So that's a good get for the Aggies. They had Clemens a couple years ago who had some physicality, but Skirton's a better player. So it'll it's a really good get.
I want you to say that to his face.
No, I would never say that to Michael Clemens. Is one of the meanest, toughest people on the planet.
Yeah.
He knocked out teammates at A&M.
And
he had I don't want to say too much of Michael Clemens' business, actually. Let's just say that I was told by somebody with the Jets that he offered early on to be the enforcer with the Jets as a rookie to his defensive line coach. If anything needs to get settled or handled, he'll be more than happy to handle things. And the D-line coach was like, okay, noted.
Anything that needs to be settled, you tell me.
Anything. He said, I got this rookie class. He goes, don't worry about that. He goes, I'll make sure everything works right with the rookies. So he's like, okay.
Coming up in 9 minutes, Josh Pate. We'll talk some college football with him. Excited about this college football. This is the most exciting college football season in a while. So let's just talk a little Astros baseball. We got our ace, Spencer Arrighetti, on the mound today against some schlub. So the Astros get out of there with a 3-4 road trip. Not what I was expecting, but they gave away a couple of games in Baltimore. They didn't give away any games here. They got slapped around in game 1, or they got beat 3-2 in game 1, and they got slapped around last night. They weren't scoring any runs off Nola. Zach Wheeler and Nola. Now listen, Nola in the regular season against the Astros is spectacular. In the World Series, not so much. Beat the snot out of them in the World Series. So that was the important one. The Astros are going to be able to bounce back from this 3.5-game lead over the Mariners. Not worried about that. Cleveland in a bit of a spiral right now. Kansas City has taken over. Well, they're tied for first place right now in the American League Central. And then you get out of here and you come back here. This is the schedule maker was just pissed at the Astros for some reason, but they went 18 straight on a road trip with Baltimore and Philadelphia, and then back home with Kansas City. Now, I don't know that anybody expected Kansas City to be this good, but they're good. That's a good baseball team. They are actually a couple of games ahead of the Astros right now in the race for the American League for not playing in the postseason, or getting a bye in the postseason, not playing in the wild card round. So the Astros, that's a big series coming up there too, with 18 in the midst of 18 straight games. You certainly could use a break. Find out whether or not Jason Hayward, I think, gives a little spark to the team. I think Jason Hayward is going to be nice. It'll be nice to have his defense at least in right field. Fromber will be happy about that.
Yeah.
But the Astros need a little boost with this offense. When you look at Philadelphia's offense, I think I don't know that is a lineup up and down. That reminds me a little bit of the Astros 2022 is up and down in that order. Holy crap. It is really, really good with Bryce Harper in the middle of it and Baum and and Castellanos. And JT Realmuto hit 7th for this team. What the bleep?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that's
We're used to
terrible.
our lineup looking the best.
Yes, and it's not the case. It's not the case anymore. But
Well, we don't have a right fielder anymore.
right, it would sure would be nice to get a right fielder.
September 9th, he said, or just early September?
First week of September.
I keep thinking September 9th. I think I had a dream about that.
Um,
Kyle Tucker was still alive and still a viable baseball option this year.
that sure would be nice. Sure would be nice if Kyle Tucker was alive and a viable baseball option. But that's what the word from Dana. And you know what? Dana never lies about injuries with the Astros. They're always accurate. They're always.
I don't think he lied.
Well,
I don't think he's
that's what I
lied
said.
about.
He doesn't lie.
Name one time when he's been inactive.
They are.
Well,
they're always inaccurate.
Well,
them.
yeah. They would give timelines. I think that's why they don't like giving timelines, especially on arms. Not that Kyle Tucker's an arm, but on arms, you thought, Luis Garcia. Remember, Luis Garcia did pitch in the minor league. Remember, he pitched and he wasn't good. He struggled. Then they said he had a setback, and then you're done. Lance McCullers never got off the French press to even come and
like I never got off life support.
never got off the French press where you press down for your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
He never even got off the French press.
Wow,
machine.
we're gonna make a coffee reference every time we talk about Lance McCullers.
I can tell you this. I don't know if he's pitching next year, but I know Maven Coffee's going to be rolling.
It's
and they're
really good, though. I've tried it.
It's
You
good,
tried
isn't
it?
it?
Yeah, and
Maven's
the cocktails
good.
are good.
And,
Why is it good?
Well, I mean, I worked at a coffee shop, and they roast their beans and stuff, and I
Yeah.
really like it.
Abigail knows your cowboy coffee is. I'm sure it's good too. Your Yellowstone
Yeah,
coffee or
my
whatever.
Yellowstone is great.
But they're
That's
not
right.
advertising now.
No, they're
Either
not.
is
But it's
Maven.
still good. It's
Either is
still really,
Maven
really
now that I
good.
think about it, but
It
yeah,
is.
it is still really good.
Yeah.
I just like coffee because it's caffeine. I'm not, Abigail probably likes it because she was a
Well,
she
she's
was
fancy.
she was a barista.
Yeah.
Do you know in
Were you a
England that would-
barista?
I was for 4 years.
Really?
do you know in London that would make you'd be in the court system?
What?
That's a barista.
That's a barrister.
Yeah, but you say it barista.
Yeah, well, it's not a
In England.
barista. She wouldn't be trying someone, okay, because she could make a pot of coffee, okay?
But it's similar.
No,
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure
I
it's
don't
Not
really
as
know.
much.
a
Not similar.
barrister.
He's also got his coffee in all the different espresso
I
martinis.
feel so much
Maven's
better
all
that
over.
I don't drink coffee anymore. You need to wean yourself.
I know. I really do. Yesterday I woke up out of my hardcore medicines they gave me because I had to have an ablation yesterday, and I don't know. It was 12:30 or 1. I don't even know what time it was, and I felt terrible, and I realized, I haven't had coffee today, and I've got a
So
physical
the doctor
addiction.
said you could
I
have
had headaches. Yes, they brought me iced coffee. I drank it. I felt better in 30 minutes.
that's a bad thing.
No, it's a terrible thing.
You know what's
So
a
you
great-
don't drink coffee at all?
I don't drink coffee at all. You know what's a great thing? Chastang Ford. That's a great thing. Chastang Ford is where you get your Ford on. Get your Sport, your Bronco Sport. Okay, $299 a month lease. This is a perfect starter car for him or her. How old are they? This Bronco Sport is a great way, and lease it so that it's after 3 years. Who knows when we're going to want it? They're older, whatever, but you get out of it after 3 years. It's perfect. It doesn't get any better for a $299 lease. Okay, that's a great way to start your kid with a car, and it's a great car, and it's a new car. Okay, so I mean, it just doesn't. This is if you're sitting in the car right now thinking, how am I going to do this? Well, this is the way to do it. Go to Chastang Ford. Get there in a hurry and take advantage of $299 a month, and your kid is going to love it. Kid's going to have wheels and it's a great little car, But you also got XLTs with it's deal after deal after deal. XLTs with $4,500 off. You got the Ford Rewards where it's complimentary service on new vehicles. It's deal after deal after deal after deal at Chastang Ford. They're going to work their tail off to get you the best deal that you could possibly get every time with no add-ons, no markups. It's not the way they do business. I love Chastang Ford. You'll love Chastang Ford too. If you're looking for a vehicle, new or pre-owned, New or pre-owned, they got them on the lot as well. Whatever you want, whatever you need. One place to go, ChastangFord.com. On 610 at Homestead, not Hempstead, just 5 minutes from downtown Chastang Ford. Yeah. All right, welcome back. Man, oh man, oh man, am I excited. The college football season is here, and nobody better at it all year long. Josh Pate with a new deal with CBS, joining us every week here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
That's big time right there.
He is. We knew him when he was, just had a little podcast, whatever, and he was banging on it and talking about Jimbo.
I told you he was
A&M.
going to be really good. I said, you're going to really like this guy,
Yeah.
Josh Pate.
Yeah, no, he's good.
And so I don't want to take credit for it, but
No, you found him.
no.
You're
I
a
didn't
star
find him, but I mean, he's been on here for 2 years, and then he gets a big 3-year deal with CBS.
Right,
I mean,
CBS.
and we just recently get into the Texas Radio Hall of Fame,
Right.
and then Josh gets I don't know.
Do you think he made us? Maybe
Oh, I
that's the
didn't
case.
I didn't think about that.
That might be it. Josh is joining us right now on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. What up, Josh?
I'm glad someone there in that duo made that follow-up comment, so I didn't have to come on and make a follow-up comment. Just suffice it to say, the relationship has served us all well.
It served us all. You a little bit better than us. I'd much rather have that contract than, well, nothing wrong with the Texas Hall of Fame, but it ain't paying. So, Josh, I'm excited as ever. I just think the college football season is going to be so much better with 12 teams with a playoff because games are going to mean more. It's happened in baseball with the wild card. It happened in the NFL with the wild card. More teams are involved later. You're not out of it. If you lose 2 games, you're still playing meaningful games. Are you on that same? Could you tell people who are against this 12-team thing that this is going to be a good thing, or are you a smaller field guy?
Oh, no, I was always against it. However, let me just pause. I know a lot of people are yelling at their radio. There is a lot to like about this. And even for someone like me, there's a lot to like about it. The difference in the sports you just mentioned, I do want to visit that for like 20 seconds. So pro sports have always been totally different to me than the college game. I'm all for playoff expansion in all the pro sports because the regular season doesn't matter more than the postseason to me in those sports. College football, I've always loved the regular season more than the postseason. That's why I never had a problem with a really condensed postseason because I love the Saturdays in the fall. But that's not where we are. So what I will say, especially with this first couple of versions of it, I think it's really important for maybe like the perception of it that we don't have a bunch of elite teams this year. And I don't think we do have elite teams to start the season. Here's why that's important. If we have one of those years like we've had in the past maybe, and we get to November and Georgia's just separated from the pack, or Ohio State or someone, they just separate from the pack, people will be feeling like it's a foregone conclusion who's going to win the thing. And so in November, teams will be playing games to try and lock down a 9 seed, but we'll all know the ending, or at least we'll think we know the ending. Now, picture another world. Picture the kind of world like we had in 2007, and we've had a few of these years, where there is no elite team. anyone thinks they could win it. Imagine November with no elite team. Everyone's already flawed. Everyone's got losses. That's the kind of environment that really could set itself up for 20-plus teams in the month of November legitimately thinking they could win a national title. Not all of them will be right, obviously. But if you don't have the elite team emerge in the first year of the 12-team playoff, that not only creates a chaotic November, but that also calibrates people's minds to think that that's what the new playoff is. Every year is just demolition derby in November. Now, that would be best-case scenario.
Listen, I thought last year's postseason did wonders for college football anyway, though. Alabama beats Georgia, knocks them out. Michigan beats Alabama. Washington beats Texas. Those are two teams that are not normally. I mean, Michigan, how long did it take them to get over that hump? I thought last year's postseason showed that, wait a minute, you can be a 4 or 5 seed and get there.
Well, so I remember we had this talk on this show during that period because I was of the opinion a couple of things were happening. NIL and the portal were balancing rosters out a little bit. And also, we didn't know it at the time, but Nick Saban was about to step down. And to me, if you did nothing more than take Nick Saban away from Alabama and maybe adjust the way talent is acquired in this sport, that would do more for competitive balance than expanding a playoff ever would. Like, to me, and this is kind of the downside, this is the flip side of that card we were just talking about. To me, you're talking about Georgia getting eliminated last year. Well, in this new format, they're not. And in this new format, you got a Georgia that's a 7 seed, probably still favored over everybody, and that disproportionately is going to be your Cinderella. Your Cinderella is just an SEC team that gets a third shot or a second shot at life. And so I'm okay with that. I just don't think a lot of the folks who wanted expansion had in their mind, let's expand to give the big boys more shots at winning a title once they trip up.
Yeah, right. But now we'll have, oh, man, Georgia deserved to, Florida State, you deserve to be there. All of these teams that, actually deserve to be there, they're going to be there. So it'll be not just one little hiccup crushes your season. All right, Oregon or Ohio State in the Big Ten?
I took Ohio State. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, by the way. So I've talked to as many NFL guys as I can that make their way around to these fall camps. And not that that's the gospel, but I do always love their opinion. So talking with someone who was at Oregon the other day, they were very praiseworthy of the line of scrimmage talent they've acquired. They still don't quite compare it to maybe your vintage Georgia or Bama teams or even vintage Ohio State teams, but it's right up there. It's competitive, really, really good depth, both lines of scrimmage. I asked them what they thought about the secondary because that's what I've been focused on with Oregon. They said good athleticism, probably not the best links in the world back there. And I think about that because I think about in these pressure games, these big, money games, that kind of stuff mattering. It's not the kind of thing you read about in a preview magazine or anything like that.
Right.
That's one thing. But then the flip side of it, the quarterback up at Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, I picture him in some of these games hanging half 100 on folks, but I'm telling you, man, the same kind of folks, when I talk to him, they talk about how limited certainly his profile is because he's not the kind of guy that wows you with his arm. He's the kind of guy that may be more of a system guy than an individual star maker kind of guy. And I picture him against Ohio State's defense and secondary, and I just don't know that I love that matchup for Oregon. So that's why I leaned Ohio State. Now, I am not an evaluator of talent for the pro level, so I'm interested to get your take on that.
No, I'm completely with you 100%. Dylan Gabriel's got a pop gun arm, but he's a good college quarterback. He knows how to run offenses. He's been able to score wherever he's been. I think he's going to do great at Oregon with the offense that they have. But I'm the same way. Like, Ohio State to me is just I just think Ohio State has too many athletes, and I think when you have a guy with limited arm talent, it limits what you can do on the field. Like it's harder to attack. You can attack down the field vertically when you have man on man, man to man, but you can't. It's harder to throw intermediate routes when you have tighter, especially if they zone up against you because those windows get tighter and they can close them with the quickness. So I like Ohio State and Will Howard. I think the wide receiver talent there is spectacular, and I'm the same as you. I'm Ohio State. I firmly believe Ohio State's got a legit chance of they should be a favorite to win the national championship. And with Oregon, I think I think the same way you do. I can see 56-14 in a game, but when he gets against the elite athletes, I think the physical limitations he has will show up. And it's the same reason why he's going to have a hard time being an NFL quarterback, for those same reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, I also, look, the one that I'm not going to pick to win that conference, but the one I'm just utterly fascinated in is they made 2 coordinator changes over at Penn State, and, they would tell you they upgraded on both of those. And I'm excited to see the guy from Kansas come over there, Koldenicki, because the other thing that those scouting types continue to tell me is do not be selling your Drew Aller stock. We still believe in him. We still think he's got all the tools. Just because they couldn't move the ball to save their lives against Ohio State and Michigan last year, don't get down on him. So do you agree with that? Like, what do you think about Aller right now?
Well, I mean, it's funny because Aller was so bad against, was it Michigan and Ohio State, or he had some really, maybe Iowa's who I'm thinking of too. He had some really, really bad games, but he's talented. Like, who was it that was Ohio State last year? I didn't think he was all that talented. Aller, I think, has legitimate talent. He may have just been against some. I mean, listen, you had Ohio State, Iowa, and Michigan. You had some good defenses over there that he had to go up against. So I'm kind of with that. I wouldn't give up on Drew Aller just yet, but he also has something to prove to me.
I'd almost prefer he didn't change coordinators, be in a system for a couple of years as opposed to a new system now and having to think more than he needed to. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a big Aller fan. We'll see what happens there. Let me ask you a question. Georgia Tech, after that win, they're coming home to Georgia State now, Josh. And that's an inner city deal, and they're giving up 21. And this is a letdown. This looks like a letdown week for me for Georgia Tech after that big win.
It's a major letdown spot. It also I don't even know how to quantify cross country travel or cross international travel. But I will say this.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're coming back from Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no week off. Like they didn't get a week
That's
off.
crazy.
I'm very shocked they scheduled it like that. So I think that would be normal, a letdown spot period. And then you got a big program defining win, and everyone's going to pat you on the back. But also, you're playing an entirely new coaching staff over there at Georgia State, so no one really knows what to expect from them. I think one of the funniest things that I have witnessed in quite a while is I was at Georgia the day Del McGee took that job at Georgia State, and I was with Kirby that day. And so, on one hand, your running backs coach just got himself his big opportunity, and you're wishing him well. But then 20 minutes later, he's trying to take your staffers. And so I was sitting there witnessing the fight of Kirby's phone going off every 20 minutes and him trying to fight to keep his number 2 here and his number 3 there, because that's the game. Thank you. We wish you well. Now I'm going to try and take everyone on the second and third layer of your sports staff and coaching staff from me. And then Kirby's got to give him raises to keep him there. So he put himself a really good staff together. Dell put himself a really good staff together there. I mean, you want to talk about a bomb going off in the ACC last week. Well, what if that team comes right back home and loses to Georgia State the next week? That would be the bomb to go off.
And it's not like Georgia State hasn't been a competitive unit. I mean, they are a competitive unit. And Georgia Tech, yeah, dude, this is coming back from Ireland. No time off on a letdown. This is a super letdown.
Inner city rivalry. So, is Georgia Tech the favorite now in the ACC?
No, they're not. I got in a big fight about this on last night's show. I don't buy into rankings much because everyone else does it. So I just always love to take a little different approach. I enjoy stacking teams based on the odds-making approach because it avoids the knee-jerk reaction on everything. So we partnered with, I'm not sure I can mention them on the show, we partnered with a major sports book on the show. And so they have allowed me to hit up their traders. Anytime we have an argument, I am now allowed to hit up their traders, and they will tell me hypothetically what they would make a number on a game. And so I hit them up last night about FSU, Georgia Tech. They said, yeah, we'd favor FSU by 7.5 if they played again, which means nothing because the football game already happened. But it does kind of arm me with the knowledge that you may not want to be diving all on Georgia Tech right now.
Wait a minute. Schedule. Well, they're not taking the DJ ukulele factor into it. That guy, I'm sorry, he's so overrated. He is.
Well, he's
so-
not even overrated. I don't think anyone thinks he's any good anymore.
That's it. I don't think he's overrated because I don't think anyone who really understands the game, and including these kinds of folks, I don't think they rated him high. I don't think that an odds maker looked at that and was surprised at DJ.
I think it's
But
my
Florida
offense.
State's rated high.
Well,
And guess what?
But they had 3 guys from Miami, Georgia, Alabama on their defensive front. I think it was really more they underrated Georgia Tech. Honestly,
Well,
I think that was a big part
think
of it.
everybody is overrated Florida State. Florida State is going to lose
We'll
3 or
see.
4 games.
We'll see. They got portal guys, like they can make a quarterback change, and things can change quickly after the first game.
If they make a quarterback change, all right.
Yeah, and I don't know who's behind them. I have no idea. But, one thing about odds makers, I've been friends with, I used to have my own handicapping service. That's how I got started when I met John. But one thing you find out about Vegas guys is there's not drastic overreactions, especially early in the year. And that's why there's value early in the year because, Florida State may not be very good this year. Maybe they're not going to be, but they're going to take their time and bring in their power rankings down because the last thing you wanted to see is wild swings back and forth on your power rankings.
Right.
So your best advantages are for like the first 3 weeks if you really do a good job of handicapping who these teams are because they will not overreact to anything, which is good on one sense, but if a team's much better than they thought, like Georgia Tech, you're still going to keep getting pretty good numbers.
I think they adjusted FSU down 3 points. I think most people who know anything about that world know that is a big adjustment.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys this. I'm going to the Miami-Florida game Saturday. I will tell you, I went down there a couple of weeks ago and watched Miami's practice. That is a Florida State situation in that you go and watch them, and then everyone had Florida State hyped up because the folks who had been through Tallahassee saw all the talent they had defensively, and they got wowed by it. Well, then that talent didn't play football the way that talent's supposed to play football. I cannot wait to see how Miami plays because the team I went and watched a few weeks ago looks a whole lot like these SEC teams I'm around a lot.
I've
That's
heard
what
they've got some
look like.
dudes in there.
They are fairly loaded. I'm just telling you, if I put Georgia or Alabama jerseys on most of that team, it would track. It would look right. So that doesn't mean anything because they hadn't played a football game. How do they play with those players? That's what I can't wait to see.
Yeah. All right. So that's your favorite game this week.
Your favorite games to watch. What are your 3 favorite games to watch? Do you have them?
I've got that one. I think A&M. I think the game in your guys' backyard probably is my favorite game to watch. I think the favorite game to be at will be Miami, Florida. That's the one I'm going to. Also, there's one that's kind of off the radar. I think that Penn State West Virginia game on a Saturday is kind of off the radar. And then, of course, that Sunday game, that LSU USC game is the most unpredictable to me of the entire slate because that's the one where either one of you could sell me on either one of those teams winning by double digits, and you'd both have a half-decent chance of convincing me.
Yeah. That's the one I'm going to. And I don't know. I'm not a big Garrett Nussmeier guy, so I don't know. And we'll see if we'll see if USC, first of all, can play any defense, and secondly, if Lincoln Riley just picks up with another Heisman Trophy type quarterback again, because that's what he does. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I'm not sure about Nussmeier. That I don't think LSU goes far this year.
I think they probably had some problems with turnovers in fall camp with him that worried him a little bit. And it's one thing if you have that, but you've got Ohio State's defense, but LSU doesn't. And so the thing that concerns me with them is what if they get in a spot where they get popped, their secondary gets popped by USC and they're down 13-0 already. I mean, do they have to ask Garrett Nussmeier to win a shootout early in the season? Because that would be a very uncomfortable spot. Now, what they think they'll be able to do is man up with that offensive line and just lean on USC. And you know what? Maybe they will be able to do that, but that means they need to have really good game control because you can't be doing that and trying to play catch-up. So that's why that thing's so unpredictable to me.
Well, we got to break it there. We appreciate it. As always, man, it's going to be fun football season. Josh Pate joining us. CBS Sports now. Joining us every week right here on ESPN 97.5 and 90. Is this your slot, 9 o'clock every Wednesday?
This is it. I'm going to be camped out in the parking lot when you guys pull in.
That's awesome. Man, we're looking forward to it, Josh. I'm really looking forward to it.
I just got the news. I'm headed from NFL Network. They're finally sending me back out on the road again after all the cut downs we've had. So I'm going to be at Georgia, Texas, and I'm going to be at Ohio State, Michigan, looks like, which is a bucket list for me.
Nice.
So I've never been to Ohio State and never been to that game. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully I catch it one of these games this year.
Well, you'll be
Wow.
next to Josh.
Hey, way to ease your way back into it. Just pick some tune-up games. That a boy.
Yeah, no, I just figured, well, they said, hey, we don't have a lot of money, so you better get the most pro prospects you can get out of these games. And they're the ones one of my editors said, I suggest these two. I'm like, yeah,
Good.
it works for me.
Done.
Works
All right,
for me.
We got to break it. Josh, as always, man, thank you. And we'll be talking this year. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. See you.
Have fun in Florida. Lance, have fun talking about Craig to Surf.
I always have fun talking about Craig to Surf and talking about the offers that they have. When you go to the website, lancezcars.com, that's lancezcars.com, you can see exactly what I'm talking about with their, not their specials, it's their programs. It's called programs. And these programs basically give you a chance to find out exactly what type of setups you got, what kind of hookups are available right now. And you can go to GulfCoastChevy.com, Gulf Coast Chevy Buick GMC.com, or just go to LanceZcars.com is the easier one. Right now, you can lease a 2024 Hummer EV for only $995 a month if you're looking for that Hummer. That's one of the specials that they have, one of the programs that they have. $5,750 total cash allowance. That's 10% below MSRP on 2024 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab LT 5.3-liter engines. That's a great offer for a pickup. Total lease payments reduced by $7,500 or more with tax credit value and other incentives are available right now through the Chevrolet programs. And it goes on and on. $299 a month on a lease for the 2024 Chevy Equinox. You've got a 2024 Blazer for $369 per month. These are all great opportunities for you. Check them out online at lancezcars.com. The service, the selection, and the price is never going to disappoint you. It's always going to make you happy at Gulf Coast Chevy Buick GMC in Angleton. Go to lancezcars.com.
All right, welcome back here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. This is a quick segment because we got Nick coming up, right? Nick coming up next right here on ESPN.
Nick Whalen.
Nick Whalen coming up next right here on ESPN 97 to talk some fantasy football. So you weren't here yesterday to talk about CeeDee Lamb, the
No.
$138 million deal.
I think it's really getting interesting what's happening with Dak Prescott, because you look at from 20 to 23, ESPN had a graphic, the quarterbacks who have made the most money, and it's not even close. Dak Prescott has made so much more money than it's him, and then I think it's Kirk Cousins is in the top 3, Russell Wilson's in the top 4. It's like not great it's good, not great quarterbacks, and then you have Pat Mahomes, I think, is number 5. He's made the most money from 20 to 23, and now you want to give him even more? I mean, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. But is Dallas going to be the first team that finally takes a stand and says, I think he'll eventually cave in. He wants to give him what he thinks he's worth. That's what Jerry wants to do. And I saw Jerry. Did you see yesterday Jerry was cussing? And do we have any of that? See if you can find any of that audio that's bleeped out. Jerry, I was reading his comments. He dropped F-bombs all over the place where people were asking him about being a general manager and all this stuff. I mean, man, he went. I only read it. I didn't hear it. But is Dallas going to be the first to take a stand and say, we're not paying him what he's not worth? He's not the top quarterback in the league. We're not paying him like that.
Good luck, though. Good luck.
If you do that, you got to trade. You got to be willing to take a step back. And are you willing to take a step back when now you may also look at Brock Purdy and you may say, hey, but I would argue that be careful about thinking the Brock Purdy way is the way to go when you have Mike Shanahan and a bunch of weapons. Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy's a unicorn. If you think you're going to chase the Brock Purdy method, it obviously isn't Trey Lance. So I'm sure that would have been great if it were Trey Lance. It would have been fantastic. But I don't know. I'm waiting for the team that says, you know what? We're going to trade him, and we're going to get a bunch of first-round picks for him, or we'll go this year. They'll probably play with him this year, obviously. Then what they could do is franchise him and then deal him for picks, is what they could end up doing. And although I'm not sure they can franchise.
No, they can't franchise.
No, they can't franchise.
So he's already passed that.
So you would just lose him.
Lose him.
So all you can do, you get a third. All you can do is trade him this year if you want to get. What would you get for Dak?
Well, you get a lot, man.
Would you get 3 firsts like Deshaun got?
Well, I don't know. He'd be better than Deshaun.
But is Deshaun a warning to everyone to say, ooh? Dak is steady. You know who Dak is as a person and otherwise. Dak's not Deshaun. But would you give 3 for a guy that you're going to have to give $55 million to? I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
Not if they're high, but you almost have to if they're in the, if you're a mid-level team or above. Like, who's somebody that would want to trade right now for Dak? It'd have to be somebody who feels like they can win now. Like who? The Giants? Would you deal Danny Dimes for Dak?
That's an ugly question.
Well, no, he's obviously not going to be. I don't know Abigail's in there. I didn't mean to say that in front of Abigail about trading for Daniel Jones, but
right.
And that's an interdivision trade, so you wouldn't do it anyway. But what do you do? Like who do you trade? Who would you trade Dak to? Somebody would want him.
No, absolutely.
But you'd have to trade him before the season to get any value.
Would you
for
trade him right now for Trevor Lawrence?
If I'm Dallas?
If I'm Jacksonville?
No. Well, man, that's actually. Well, the cap hit, you would take an extraordinary. You couldn't do it if you're Jacksonville because he just signed a deal, so you're
right now you wouldn't do it.
You would get obliterated. But in theory, would I do it? In theory,
maybe. All right,
that is a harder one than it should be.
Well, we got to break it right here because we got fantasy football. Nick Whalen going to join us on the other side right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You got John Daspit to talk about.
I got John Daspit to talk to, and I'm glad I get to tell people about what John Daspit's doing for the people out there who have been injured. Refinery blasts are something he's handled before. He handles a lot of issues along the Gulf Coast because there's out offshore and in the water, there's always a lot of different injuries that go on. And, it's kind of accounted for. They know it's going to happen. They have insurance, and it's there to try to help out. The problem is when you get the lawyers involved, they're trying to, and the insurance companies for the lawyers, they're trying to squeeze you out of a fair settlement. And that's where John Daspit comes in. He's got years of experience in this. He's handled many high-profile cases. So he knows what's fair and what's not fair. He knows the history of it. He's handled a lot of these cases. And a lot of the insurance companies or lawyers know when they're up against John Daspit, you can play your games if you want to, but John will wait you out and take you to court, and you're going to lose in court against John Daspit. That guy's got a massive winning percentage. So usually the cases get settled out of court, and John will not sit around and just take a bad deal. That's not what he's going to do. He's not on to the next case like most of these personal injury lawyers are. You're a number to them. That's not the case for John Daspit. He wants you to get a fair settlement for your pain and suffering, the time missed from work that you're going to have, and all of your medical bills now and potentially in the future as well, depending on that injury. That's why you trust John Daspit. John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm. Go to daspitlaw.com or call 713-CALL-NOW. That's 713-CALL-NOW.
All right, welcome back. Nick Whalen joining us right now here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, talking some NFL fantasy football.
Roto
right
Wire.
here. Roto World right here on ESPN 97.5.
Roto Wire.
Roto Wire, fantasy football. I've got my head together. Okay, I was just looking through, and as a matter of fact, I want to ask Nick about this right away. Nick, welcome into the show. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, anytime, guys. Appreciate it. Good to be representing Roto Wire, not Roto World.
Not Roto World.
No,
Roto Wire.
Appreciate you guys having me on the show, and it should be a lot of fun.
All right, so let's talk wide receivers. How you got them ranked with CD signing now? Does that change anything for you? And Jamar not signing, he's got to play this season. Maybe something to prove. Tyreek Hill, obviously. Justin Jefferson with quarterback issues. Where's your ranking on your wide receivers?
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's also been the Christian McCaffrey hamstring injury. So the kind of that upper part of the first round over the last few weeks has been in a lot more flux than we thought it would be a month ago. And CeeDee Lamb, officially getting that deal signed with the Cowboys this week, I think that takes that anxiety away. It certainly makes me feel better about CeeDee Lamb, who we didn't really see fantasy football drafters back away from too much. If you look at some of the competitive high money leagues out there, CeeDee Lamb still on average goes with the second or the third pick. That was the case even before he signed the contract. So there was never too much concern that deal would get done with CeeDee Lamb, but obviously having that locked in makes you feel better. It also makes you feel a lot better about drafting Dak Prescott as well. He's somebody who's going off the board as like QB8, QB9. Without CeeDee Lamb, things would get a little bit dicey in Dallas, but now that they have him locked in, it's easy to see them repeating that connection from last year. I personally rank the receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, and then Justin Jefferson. I mean, of course, guys, these are all elite receivers. You could scramble them in just about any order and make a case for it. The Jamar Chase situation, I'm not concerned about it. Zach Taylor came out earlier this week and said, yeah, we fully expect Jamar Chase to be out there. Chase himself doesn't have a ton of leverage, especially with this Bengals organization being one that historically does not pay their players until they absolutely have to. He's got 2 more years left on that rookie deal. So would Jamar Chase like a contract? Would that put fantasy drafters? Would that put the Bengals at ease? It would, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the good thing in that situation, as opposed to the CeeDee Lamb situation or the Brandon Ayuk situation, is there doesn't appear to be, this impasse between player and team. Jamar Chase wants that contract, but I think understands that his time is not yet up, and he's resigned to the fact that he's going to be playing this season out with 2 more years left on that rookie deal. Of that group, guys, Jefferson's the one you have to be concerned about because of the quarterback play. I personally believe Justin Jefferson is one of those transcendent receivers who's essentially quarterback-proof. We saw him do it last year with Nick Mullins. I'm also of the belief that, is Sam Darnold really that big of a downgrade from rookie J.J. McCarthy? I don't really think he is. We expected Sam Darnold to start the year anyway. So, Justin Jefferson maybe doesn't have quite as much high-end upside as he had in years past with Kirk Cousins, but I think he's still an easy first-round value.
This is, it's really the wide receiver spot. Also, something that John and I've talked about, and I've talked about with other friends of mine, is how you handle Puka Nacua in year 2 versus Cooper Kupp, and where does Cooper Kupp fit in, and where does Puka is not going to surprise anybody this year. How do you view? Is there value with Cooper Kupp? Do you think there's not hidden value, but is there some bounce back value there? How do you view using those 2 Ram wide receivers? Where do you put them?
Yeah, it's interesting with Kupp because if you look at, his average draft position now, you got to take him in the mid to late second round. He's creeping up even in the early second round in some competitive drafts, but a month ago you were getting him at the end of the 3rd round. So there's been this kind of upswell in Cooper Kupp optimism as we continue to get positive reports on him throughout training camp in the preseason. He is still going, about 8 to 10 picks behind Puka Nacua in drafts. And if I have to choose between one of those guys, I'm going to wait the extra round and take Cooper Kupp. I know he's on paper a bit riskier, but I think there's more upside with Cooper Kupp. In my mind, he has, one more elite season left in him alongside Matthew Stafford. And, the beautiful thing with Puka Nacua last season, guys, was you probably didn't even have to draft him, right? If you were really on it, maybe you took him with the last pick of the draft, and obviously you got one of the biggest values in all of fantasy football in the last decade. But now you got to burn the 14th, the 15th overall pick on Puka Nacua. So, last year you get this massive windfall if you grabbed him off of waivers, you took him late in the draft. Now, to me, it feels like you're drafting Puka Nacua at his absolute ceiling.
Yep. Nick Whalen joining us from RotoWire here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. I'm torn on Devontae Adams. Here's why, is because Michael Pittman had 156 targets last year and over 1,000 yards. You know what? Devontae Adams is now only 4 touchdowns. But Devontae Adams is better. And Gardner Minshew can get him the football because, 109 catches last year for Michael Pittman. If he had 109, what's Devontae going to have?
Yeah, it's a fair point. And Devontae Adams himself, had over 170 targets last season, had 103 catches, so he wasn't too far behind Michael Pittman in that regard. And I am of the belief that obviously this is not a great quarterback situation in Vegas, but it's not Tim Boyle, it's not Trevor Siemian, right? It's not going to be tragic like the New York Jets last season. It's like you at least have a high variance quarterback in Gardner Minshew who's willing to air the ball out. We've seen him be productive for receivers in fantasy in the past, but at the same time, I do feel like Devontae Adams at cost is still a little bit overvalued. We're talking about a receiver who very clearly does not want to be on the team that he is on. This is not what Devontae Adams signed up for when he forced his way to Las Vegas a couple of years ago. He outwardly wanted to play with his college quarterback, Derek Carr, who is now the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Like, this is not where Devontae Adams wants to be. Now, there's an argument that if he's able to force his way out of Vegas and perhaps, land with a team like the New York Jets, that maybe mid-season he lands in a better situation. But, age 31 season, he declined quite a bit last year, lost about 350 yards, lost 6 touchdowns compared to his 2022 season. And, overall, I think this is going to be a rebuilding type of year for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think they're going to be overly competitive. They're in a division where there are some winnable games on the table, but I don't see this being a high-scoring team. I don't see this being a team that's spending a ton of time in the red zone. Devontae Adams, to me, there's still going to be that floor there just because he's so talented, and I don't think that physical fall-off necessarily comes this season. But, in some drafts, you got to take him 15, 16 overall. He's another guy that I think doesn't quite have that 1,500, 12 touchdown type of upside that he had in years past.
Yep.
I think that John and I are here close to it, but it's even difficult for us when we get your national take on the wide receivers here at Houston. I don't think you're going to go wrong with any of them, but there is going to be, I think, some levels to where they get drafted, the effectiveness or the efficiency of where you draft Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins versus the output. I think all of them have a chance to hit 1,000 yards. It might be one of the few 3 wide receiver 1,000-yard units that we've seen over the years. How do you, who's scoring the touchdowns? How do you see this going? How do you personally invest in those guys from an average draft positioning, and how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, we can touch on a few of the Houston players. I mean, they have, 5 guys going in the top 60 overall, and that includes C.J. Stroud, who is pretty unanimously the QB5 right now, and even he goes in the top 60. It's rare, right? You almost never see 3 receivers from the same team being drafted in the top 50 picks, but that is routine right now, especially in wide receiver-heavy leagues. You typically see Nico Collins first off the board, then Stephon Diggs, and then maybe a round later, Tank Dell will go, and I'm of the belief that one of these guys has to be marginalized, right? I mean, it's just really hard to support, 3 top 5 round receivers in any offense. I don't care how good that offense is, and I certainly expect, a nice year 2 leap from C.J. Stroud. I think we see an increase in yardage. I think we can see a big jump in touchdowns from C.J. Stroud. But to me, the guy that I'm most worried about at cost has to be Tank Dell, right? I mean, you go out and bring in someone like Stephon Diggs for a reason, and I know we're not excited about how Diggs finished the season in Buffalo, but he was still one of the best receivers in the NFL for the first half of last year. And I'm not exactly sure what happened. I mean, obviously Stephon Diggs has worn out his welcome now in 2 different spots, but I don't think you make a point to go out and get Stephon Diggs and kind of use him as the number 3 guy. I think for this season specifically, I view him as the number 2 behind Nico Collins. So Tank Dell would be the one that I'd be a little bit skittish about, taking him inside the top 50, a guy who, just a little bit undersized, obviously a really exciting player, somebody who flashed in a big way last season. But Stephon Diggs is a target hog. He's always been a target hog. He's going to be somebody who commands attention from C.J. Stroud. So I've been looking elsewhere when it comes to Tank Dell. I don't really have a problem picking Collins or Stephon Diggs at cost. And I will say, guys, I like to wait on quarterbacks in my draft, especially if those quarterbacks do not have rushing upside. So if you want to go an early quarterback, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, that's fine. I don't know if I'm burning the 55th overall pick in my draft on C.J. Stroud. I mean, you need him to have an absolute, all-time elite passing season to return on that investment, which he's very capable of doing that. But, even with that factored in, it's going to be really tough for C.J. Stroud to finish higher than the QB4 or QB5 slot. So as much as I love the player in real life, I don't have a lot of shares of C.J. Stroud. I've usually been waiting on quarterback, and you can get somebody who's not too far behind C.J. Stroud in terms of per-game fantasy value. We're talking 60, 70 picks later, the Tuas of the world, the Jared Goffs, the Kirk Cousins of the world.
I'm totally on board with that philosophy. I use it every year in our auction. We've got I've been doing this now 27 years. Our auction has been going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when I started radio here, and we've got a lot of the same guys, and it's interesting over those years to watch people's strategies change. You should have seen. We didn't know what we were doing the first year, the money we were spending on quarterbacks. But I do want to ask, do you think it's different from a draft standpoint? Do you think it's different if you are handcuffing a wide receiver to the quarterback? If you're going to make an investment in Nico Collins, do you look at a quarterback like CJ? Typically, I know you don't want to do that, but how often do you look at quarterback, wide receiver, same team whenever you are drafting?
No, it's absolutely something I would consider. I typically don't go into a draft, saying, all right, I need to get this receiver and I need to get this quarterback. But, CeeDee Lamb's a good example, right? If you have the 2nd or the 3rd overall pick in your draft, and let's say McCaffrey goes 1 and you want to take a receiver early on and you land CeeDee Lamb, I think it then makes sense to target someone like Dak Prescott, who you might be able to get with close to the 100th overall pick in your draft. And, certainly if you have Nico Collins and, C.J. Stroud is available in round 4 or round 5, I think that makes it more appealing. You get that connection there. You get that correlation in terms of touchdowns. So if I am going to take someone like C.J. Stroud, and this applies to, other non-running quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, I already mentioned Dak Prescott, guys like that, if I'm going that route, I absolutely would like to have some level of correlation, but it could be a dangerous game to play, right? Because you have to pick those receivers early on, and if you're in a snake draft, you might be waiting, 18 to 20 plus picks until your next pick, and if you don't get that quarterback, then all of a sudden you kind of have to scrap that plan, and you might be scrambling a little bit. So it's something that if you can pull it off, I encourage, but I wouldn't necessarily plan on it because it's really unpredictable as far as what everyone else in your league is going to do between those picks.
Nick Whalen, RotoWire, with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. All right, we're running out of time here. Laporta, McBride, or Kelsey? I've been in a league where Kelsey went in the first round the last couple of years. Not anymore. How do you rank these guys, and what's the earliest you'll take that tight end?
Mm-hmm. I think the tight end position is as deep as it's been in a very long time, certainly in the last 5 to 7 years. There was a while there where it felt like if you didn't have Kelsey or you didn't have Mark Andrews, it kind of felt like the rest of the field was all the same. And, it's all these just kind of average tight ends. But we have a really, really deep tier 1 of tight ends. And if I'm taking a tight end early, guys, I'm leaning towards Sam Laporta. I think I look at this Lions offense. They bring back just about everybody, including the coaching staff. And the one hole in this offense is they don't really have a defined number 2 wide receiver. I'm not the biggest Jameson Williams believer. I know the Lions like him. I know they expect him to take a step forward. As of right now, to me, he's a deep threat. He's more of this gadgety guy. I think Sam Laporta is the true number 2 receiver in that offense behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if I am going early tight end, I'm taking Sam Laporta. But in general, I've taken a similar approach to tight end as I do at quarterback. I like waiting, kind of shopping in that Evan Ingram tier, George Kittle, Jake Ferguson has been a favorite of mine. And really the cutoff is Brock Bowers, maybe Pat Freiermuth. Those would be the last tight ends that I'm really comfortable with.
I think, I'm kind of interested. I know he had injuries last year, but Mark Andrews looks like he's, for the first time, you might be able to get him on a little bit of a bargain depending on how people rank their tight ends based on some of the ADPs I'm seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. In your home league, you might be able to get him in the 5th round, right? In a really competitive league, you might have to pay up in the 4th or the early 5th, but it's about as affordably as we've seen Andrews come off the board in the last few years. And again, I think that goes back to the depth of the position, right? You're seeing Trey McBride, you're seeing Dalton Kincaid now go ahead of Mark Andrews on average. Some people will even take Kyle Pitts over Mark Andrews, which I would not necessarily recommend. And, part of it is Andrews missed half of last season, but prior to that, he has a pretty good health track record as far as tight ends go. He never missed more than 2 games in any of his previous 5 NFL seasons. So I think you are getting a bargain on Mark Andrews.
All right. We got a break there, man. We really appreciate it. Sorry, I butchered it at the beginning. Nick Whalen, RotoWire, right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Nick, thanks for joining us. Hopefully we could do this again.
Hey, anytime, guys. Would always love to come back and appreciate you having me. Thank you.
There he is, Nick Whalen, right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Now, we got tickets to give away, right, Abigail? All right, so U of H tickets. We got 2 to give away.
Yeah, 2 of them.
We're up against it, so at 9:50 exactly, you call in. 713-780-3776, 9:50, you call in, and the 4th caller is going to win 2 tickets to the U of H game this Saturday, 6 o'clock. UHCougars.com/tickets or 713-GO-COUGS. If tickets start at just $15, let's go. Get on out there. Wear red, be loud, fill up the stadium. Let's go. We got a lot of football ahead of us here, and it's the start of the Willie Fritz era. Giving them away, 4th caller, 713-780-3776. And you got a little F1 to talk about.
F1 racing, have you ever been? Chances are you've never been to. I've never been to F1, but I can promise you I'm getting out to the show run that's going on with Houston, because this is where you finally get an opportunity to check out the sights and the sounds of F1 racing. They've got the Red Bull racing team is bringing an action-packed Formula One exhibition. It's a pop-up to Houston Discovery Green on September 7th. Okay, it's called the Red Bull Show Run. and they're going to offer fans of all ages access to massive outdoor pop-up. You're going to have food trucks there. You're going to have a DJ booth. You're going to have a chance to get in racing simulators. And maybe most importantly, they're going to race some exhibition. They're going to run the cars exhibition-wise, and you're going to get to feel the power, hear the noise and the sound and the energy and electricity that has made F1 racing so hot over the last 2 years, 3 years. Well, it's always been big, but it's really taken off here over the last 3 years. So you want to get out there. This is a free event. It's ticketless. Just get on out there September 7th and check it out for yourself. For more information, go to the website, redbull.com/showrun Houston. That's redbull.com/showrun Houston. What are all these calls here for? Oh, they're winning something.
Tickets.
Price comes out there, quarter earnings. They say it'll be the end of the market or cause the market to take off. Can you imagine that? AI is that important now.
All right, time to talk about my bookie. It's the time of the year. Okay, the college football we're talking about. Oh, who you going to bet on? Oh, you like Georgia State? Okay, how you going to do it? You're going to go to mybookie.ag, promo code bet975. We gave you some winners this week. 5-stars coming on to give us some winners too. Where are you going to bet them? Mybookie.ag, promo code bet975. You're looking for the best way to play, win, and get paid. You're looking for the best way to get live betting. You're looking for the best way to get props on every game. I mean, it is, and it doesn't matter. You want to bet on the presidential election? There. You want to bet on Oscars? There. Emmys? There. Whatever. You can bet on it all at mybookie.ag. They've got everything. Okay? mybookie.ag, promo code bet975. You're looking to play, win, and get paid. It's the football season. It's the time that you love. It's time for you to get there. Get a bonus for signing up, but you got to put in promo code bet975. And let's play. And you got early payouts. You got ability to get out of parlays early. You got all kinds of great stuff. You're looking for the best way to get it this football season. MyBookie.ag, promo code bet975. It is weird. You know what's really weird? I always thought this. People walking around with face masks, there's a good chance that they're criminals. They're hiding their faces.
Yeah.
Police in the suburbs of New York made their first arrest under a new local law banning face masks. Do you want to ban face masks?
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah. I think it's not a. That's not really.
Somebody walks up to you with a face mask on.
In a hospital, it's a COVID thing,
Yeah.
right? But in a CVS,
help? Are we sure it helps?
Well, I don't know, but they're going to. I can tell you for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing with some people.
Yeah.
Not everyone was wearing a face mask. I'm talking about people who worked there. Some wore it, some didn't. I mean, not even an operating room. Obviously, that's different.
Is Halloween an exception, though?
Halloween would be an exception. Halloween.
So that's when you can rob.
That's when you can rob. Well, that's always been when you could rob people.
Well, if you go into
we're not going to change that now.
But if you go into CVS wearing one,
yeah.
What about ski cat? What about when it's cold and you got the things with just the eyes?
that's you're looking to rob somebody. That's what you're doing. Yeah. Because
it's never that cold in the
unless
CVS.
I mean, I think women had a real advantage during COVID because
Oh, don't go there.
See,
I know where you're going. Don't do it. I know where you're going. Don't do it. Okay,
Don't do it, John.
You
Don't
can
do
let
it.
you can let young Abigail see what you're really like.
Well, young. It doesn't apply to her. She's a pretty girl. So
okay. So what are you saying?
Well, if you're not so pretty, hey, well, I wonder.
Paper bag?
Huh?
I said paper bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. You we didn't say that.
Butterface.
Butterface is crazy.
Butterface is crazy.
Alfred Ruff 71 years old, has admitted, he's an Indiana man, admitted to putting a poisonous off-white powdery substance into his wife's Coca-Colas so he could kill her and marry her daughter.
Ooh, boy.
In an ironic twist, who was supplying her with the off-white powdery?
Not the daughter.
The daughter.
Yeah, that's not ironic. That sounds like it was a plan.
It
sounds like a scheme.
Well,
the irony would have been if it was the wife who was getting killed with it.
The irony is that she would want to marry Alfred Ruff, a 71-year-old.
Is it ironic? Have you told me how much his bank account is yet?
Well, I don't know.
I'm guessing he's got a little something. He's got a life insurance policy. There's something there that makes him attractive at 71.
Yeah. So he was then 69 years old. She's 31. There's the irony.
He's got a lot of NVIDIA stock, and he's waiting for that earnings report to come out today.
He's got something, but he's got a prison term. That's
now
what
he's got a prison term.
Yeah. A baker made dough on an airplane. Do you want to see, if you want to be on an airplane and watch a baker make dough?
It wouldn't bother me for
some reason. Well, you had to apologize to everybody, I guess. Why?
Well, I mean, so
would you be offended by this?
So yeast helps it rise, but also altitude would too, right?
It would just be flat.
Oh, would it go down?
Yeah, I feel like.
I was making sourdough bread on my flight to Spain.
Sourdough's good
I wanted
for
to surprise
Are
my
they
sister with a fresh loaf.
Is he sharing with the entire plane?
Well, we're not baking it.
Oh.
They didn't
Abigail,
bake
we're
it,
just
just made the
making
dough.
Okay.
Yeah. So you couldn't share. So probably there were haters on there who were like, well, are you going to make it? Do you have any bread that we can have? No, I don't have bread. Eat your stupid tiny bag of pretzels and be quiet.
Wow.
You can't even have peanuts anymore.
I don't think I should read this one because it involves a woman and a dog, so we're not going to do that.
Delete that.
And
Close
her husband was not a good guy either. That whole story is really ugly.
Tab.
Next.
Yeah, really. Next story. Next. Okay. If you're fighting sexual temptation,
I can't even open that tab on my NFL computer that you just read.
You fighting sexual temptation?
Not really.
Well, Hong Kong is telling teenagers they need to play badminton or study. Do you think if you are sexually aroused that you should play badminton or study?
Badminton, maybe?
I guess I'd rather do anything than study. Study's going to be number 2 all the time.
Well,
or
that's
5.
in Hong Kong. They're getting ahead in life, okay? All right?
No, that's fine.
And they're kicking ass in badminton, too, though.
Yeah,
I gotta admit this. They're really good
did you
there.
see their badminton team?
Yeah, they're really
really good. Yeah, I guess.
That's why they're really good.
I guess I would tell them to do badminton.
Instead of having sex, they're playing badminton and studying.
Priorities, number 1 priority.
That's right.
Channeling energy.
Yeah, that's right. You channel it.
You got to channel that energy somewhere.
Yeah.
How about on the badminton court?
Badminton or studying?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to do? Which one?
She already told you badminton.
Badminton for you, Abigail?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how easy it would be playing badminton for guys when they're
I don't think
studying. Probably you can hide stuff with the book.
No one said they're aroused on the badminton court. What's wrong with you?
You don't want to be. You know that. No. I'm telling you.
Like somebody told me, they said, I'll tell you what am I thinking? I'll tell you when all the microphones are off after the show.
Abigail, what does he have to talk about here? Oh, he needs another Gulf Coast Chevy because Craig DeSurf.
Well, I'm glad. So I drive a Chevy Traverse. My wife drives the Chevy Traverse. Let me talk for a second about Chevys. The Chevy Silverado pickup truck is one of the, not only the best looking pickup trucks, it's also one of the strongest pickup trucks. Great engine size, and it's going to have the carry. Not only of course, the cargo space is important, but the interiors. I mean, pickup trucks nowadays they handle and have the interior luxury of an SUV. It's not like your grandpa's old pickup truck. And if you're a pickup driver, you've known this for years. But the Chevy Traverse on the SUV front, you can get the big SUVs like the Suburban, but you can also get the Chevy Traverse like we have, which has the interior size you want, but at the same time, it is a little lower to the ground. It's going to be less expensive, and yet it handles and is just as functional as those big SUVs. And we absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. They've got even smaller SUVs. If that's what you're looking for, a 5 or 6 seater, they can do that for you. I've got the 7-seater. The difference is at Gulf Coast Chevy Buick GMC, not only are your initial price points better than anywhere else, the trade-in value is substantial, and they just go that extra mile to make sure that you're happy. Whatever it takes, whether it's the service, the price, the selection, they just want you to be happy, and you will be at Gulf Coast Chevy Buick GMC. Go to LanceZCars.com. That's LanceZCars.com.